Chapter 1340. But in this situation between the two of them, she wants to interfere, but she doesn't know how to do so. Moreover, both of them have already reached core formation, they're not children anymore. If there really is affection, as their master, it wouldn't be good to separate them. So she thought of giving her disciple some tasks to do. On one hand, it would avoid meeting Lu Changsheng. On the other hand, if she's busy with tasks, she won't be troubled by matters of the heart. If it's just the sprouting of feelings in her heart, this could help fade and forget them. Yes, master. Upon hearing this, Chu Qingyi gently tightened her red lips and nodded in agreement. But after speaking, she said, Master, can you help to cover up some things about Lu Changsheng? Besides, I owe him a favor. On this trip to the Jin Kingdom, if he encounters trouble, I hope Master can help him a bit for my sake. She knew Lu Changsheng's situation was too extraordinary. If it were to spread, it might attract many to covet his opportunity and secrets like the Tianyuan secret realm did. Even if Lu Changsheng is not afraid, he still has a family. What else is good about this man aside from his looks, that makes you speak for him? Yun Wanshang, upon hearing this, immediately said unhappily. This foolish disciple of hers had her sword heart toyed with and now plans to go out, showing no concern for her master or inquiring about the sect or the secret realm, but instead worrying about this thief. Moreover, with his thick skin, if he really encounters trouble, had probably rushed to the Qingyun sect at the first opportunity. Chu Qingyi paused, feeling a strange sensation in her heart. It seemed like her master had a significant opinion on Lu Changsheng. The master gave the Sun-Moon Samsara technique to him and her junior sister and even approved of their matters. She should be quite optimistic about him, shouldn't she? However, thinking about his relationship with her junior sister, she sighed inwardly and whispered, After all, he saved my life, such a kindness, how could I be ungrateful? If he gets in trouble because of me, I wouldn't be at ease either. Chu Qingyi said this. All right, I understand, you don't have to worry about these matters, your master will see to it. Yun Wanshang said, feeling extremely irritated. Right now, just hearing about Lu Changsheng was annoying to her. Especially with this situation, how would she explain if she found out? Thank you, master. Sar the Novelier. N.E.T. website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Chu Qingyi also noticed her master's current distress, approached her to massage her shoulders, and spoke softly. Later, go and see the sect leader. Regarding the matters of the Tianyuan secret realm and the superior grade golden core, there's no need to explain much. Just say you acquired some opportunities. Yun Wanshang's expression softened a bit, and she said to her disciple, As for Lu Changsheng, just say he's an old friend you met during a training session outside a few years ago. No need to explain too much. As nascent soul immortals of the Qingyun sect, they naturally don't need to account for everything while gaining opportunities outside. Revealing a superior grade golden core might attract more resources. But such news doesn't need to be released immediately. Otherwise, it could easily draw unnecessary troubles, like being noticed by cultivators from enemy nations. Okay. After the master and disciple talked for a while, Yun Wanshang let Chu Qingyi go to rest. Alone in the vast hall for a long time, she let out a deep sigh and sent a transmitted message to Xiao Xia, Shiyu, come see me. Finally back. Lu Changsheng, clad in a mystic robe, his entire being flowing with an invisible luster, looked down at the familiar by Lake Mountain, a faint smile appearing on his face. He didn't return home with great fanfare. Instead, he entered by Lake Mountain silently and unnoticed. After all, Chu Qingyi was also returning around this time. If he returned at the same time as her, it might draw attention from others. It would be better to first check the situation at home. Is it, Lord has returned? At Baiyun Peak, the Lu family mansion, Ling Zixiao sensed something. A moment later, she heard Lu Changsheng's voice transmission. The cave heaven spirit vein has finally advanced to the 3rd rank. Just as Lu Changsheng entered the Mount Sumru cave heaven, he felt a surge of pure and dense nature's spiritual energy. The previously 1 or 2 li expanse had expanded to nearly 5 li in all directions. Changxing, you're back. In Changxing Hall, Lu Miaoge, dressed in a plain white dress, with a graceful demeanor like water, walked out, looking at Lu Changxing with a face full of joy. Even though they knew Lu Changxing was alright, not seeing him return for so long still caused some concern. Sister Miaoge, I'm sorry to make you worry. Lu Changxing immediately stepped forward, embraced his wife, and held her in his arms, breathing in her fragrant scent and speaking softly. Brother. At this moment, with smiling faces, Bai Ling and Binger came out from Changxing Hall and called out happily, hugging Lu Changxing. Linger, Binger. Lu Changxing embraced the 2 women as well. It's been almost a year since Bai Ling got pregnant. However, there didn't seem to be any signs of giving birth. Lu Changxing didn't mind it too much. After all, the longer the pregnancy, the better the child's talent. They had taken the yin-yang integration spirit pill. It would be a problem if the child wasn't carried for 2 to 3 years. Before long, Ling Zixiao, Lu Miaoyun, and Chu Zhenjin also came to the Mount Sumeru cave heaven, all looking at Lu Changxing with faces full of joy. Why didn't Lord bring a sister back this time? Seeing Lu Changxing, Ling Zixiao looked around and said somewhat surprised. Lu Changxing immediately held his wife's tender hand and said with a serious face, "What do you take me for? I just happened to be delayed by some matters, so I'm returning now." Is that so? I heard from Daoist Xiao that a nascent soul cultivator appeared in the Tianyuan secret realm, rescuing the gravely injured fairy Qingyi. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1341, Ling Zixiao, donned in a lake blue palace dress, her jet black hair styled in a cloud-like bun, said with a half-smile, "I thought my lord was busy healing Qingyi true man." Hee hee. Lu Miaoyun and Chu Zhenjin heard this and immediately covered their mouths, laughing. Lu Miaohuan looked at her husband with disdain, thinking he always had to flirt whenever he went out. Ahem, Lu Changxing heard this, didn't argue, coughed lightly twice, and said, "This Qingyi true man is, after all, she Yu's senior sister. How could I sit back and do nothing?" After speaking, he immediately changed the topic. "Zixiao, how have things been at home lately?" Shortly after the Tianyuan secret realm ended, news spread that you had fallen in the secret realm. Wang Shu and Pin Gan went to Golden Dragon Ridge to assert dominance and deter others. And the Sima family took the opportunity to test and provoke, so Wang Shu and Ling Xiao went to Misty Rain Market to oversee, subduing an elder from the Sima family. The merchant caravans encountered some trouble but slowed down the pace. With the household puppets, the situation is fairly stable at the moment. As for Hemming Mountain, compensated by the Sima family, our home currently lacks the resources to manage it, and no other forces dare to manage and operate it in our stead, so it has to be left idle for now. The group sat down in a small pavilion nearby, and Lu Miaoyun spoke out, recounting the happenings at home for Lu Changxing. Not bad, Wang Shu and the others have grown up. Listening to the challenges the family faced in recent times which were all orderly resolved by his children, Lu Changxing felt very gratified. Especially the daughter who usually was playful and lazy, her diligent and active performance during these times made Lu Changxing, the old father, immensely pleased. In his memory, this daughter was still the little girl who would always come to him, being cutesy and begging playfully. Unknowingly, she had already become capable of handling things on her own. 2 months ago, Yunlu returned, having broken through to foundation establishment, whereas Xingyue failed to establish her foundation. Fortunately, after taking the foundation establishment elixir, she did not harm her fundamentals. Xuanji also attempted foundation establishment a month ago and failed. He might need 2 to 3 years to recover. Lu Miaoyun continued speaking. Lu Changxing nodded slightly, already aware of his son Lu Yunla's foundation establishment situation. He just didn't know about his daughter Lu Xingyu's failed foundation establishment. But this was normal too. Lu Xingyue had only a 6th grade spiritual root and had struggled even to cultivate the medical king's treasure Ding scripture, and her nature was just average. Hong Xuanji was similar, although his nature and abilities were decent, he still only had a 7th grade spiritual root. On the contrary, his son Lu Yunlu, with a 6th grade spiritual root, succeeded in foundation establishment at once, indicating his overall capabilities were still quite good. As for Xingyue, let her take a good rest, and return when it's time. Lu Changxing contemplated and said. His daughter had a talent for spirit plants, having already advanced to the 2nd rank, and as Xia Ziju's daughter, Lu Changxing was willing to give her a bit more support and another chance. Okay. Lu Miaoyun nodded in agreement. They also inclined to give Lu Xingyue another opportunity. Now that the spirit vein in Mount Sumeru Cave Heaven has advanced to the 3rd rank, Yuner organized the household situation later, Lu Changxing continued, telling Lu Miaoyun to arrange for the foundation establishment of the household's 9th level energy refinement concubines. Sar the Oval Fire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Currently, directly taking concubines to foundation establishment was somewhat troublesome. Moreover, most came for the benefits, and short-term trust was difficult, requiring a bit of caution. Instead, it's better to consolidate the household's loyalty and cultivate concubines with foundation establishment talent to the foundation establishment stage. Now with the Mount Sumeru Cave Heaven's spirit vein advancing to the 3rd rank, even with more foundation establishments in the household, it could be supported without concerns over insufficient spiritual energy. All right, my lord. Lu Miaoyun had long known that her lord had such plans. However, they had been delayed due to the household's spirit vein being unable to support so many foundation establishment cultivators. After chatting with his wives and concubines for a while, Lu Changxing, knowing there were no urgent or major matters at home, led the women into the Changxing Hall. Damn man, damn bastard man. In the formless domain, Nangong Mili couldn't help but curse after observing outside with the mind goo. She couldn't comprehend how this bastard man broke through to core formation. Previously being suppressed in the formless domain, she saw Lu Changxing dual cultivating with Chu Qingyi. Then Chu Qingyi left, and the man kept tormenting her. Now observing outside, he's doing the same thing again. Are you an animal? Nangong Mili really wanted to ask this. At this moment, she seemed to know how Lu Changxing had so many children. Doing it every day, how could there be few children? Could this bastard have such intentions for me too? Nangong Mili suddenly felt a bit scared, shivering. Though with her cultivation, she could completely refine or expel him. But who knows if this man has any other means? If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1342. In the Changxing Hall, Lu Changxing poured out his full affection to his beloved wives. After numerous battles and many hardships, the passionate and enchanting moments were indescribable. Afterward. This time, your husband has obtained a not insignificant gain in the Tianyuan's secret realm. Lu Changxing shared with the ladies his experiences and gains from the trip. However, seeing Nangong Mili breaking free from part of the seal and cursing him in the formless domain, Lu Changxing immediately instructed Mount Sumeru to shield her divine sense goo. Some family matters are still inconvenient for Nangong Mili to know. Changxing, it's better to avoid such secret realms in the future, they're too dangerous. Lu Miaoge listened to these words and did not display much joy on her face. She knew well the dangers of secret realms. Just like this Tianyuan secret realm trip, many family ancestors died. I know. Lu Changsheng's heart warmed, responding seriously. Then he took out the treasure Emperor Lotus and said, Yuner, Jinjin, Huan, this time I learned something. If the heavenly origin precious lotus advances to 4th rank, the treasure Emperor Lotus, it may possibly form a cave heaven. Though this cave heaven is not as good as Mount Sumeru Cave Heaven, there's no problem with transplanting spirit plants. After I refine it, I will give it a try. If possible, then your husband can take you all out. This 4th rank supreme treasure Emperor Lotus, Lu Changxing not only used for the second Dantian but also thought of a former assumption. taking his wife's lifespan spiritual plant out with the cave heaven treasure. Though it's very inconvenient, at least they wouldn't be confined at home all the time. Thank you, husband. Lu Miaoyun and Lu Miaohuan, looking lazy and with beads of sweat, felt a tad happy upon hearing this. Chu Zhenjin curiously sized up the sparkling, jade-like lotus pedestal and exclaimed, "Is this the Treasure Emperor Lotus? It looks pretty similar to the Tianyuan Supreme King Lotus." Sar the novel, F. Iyer. Et website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. There's quite a difference. Lu Changxing smiled and then explained the cultivation technique, inheritance and ancient texts found within the Treasure Emperor Lotus. This 100 arts of cultivation inheritance not only benefits Ling Zixiao, Lu Miaoge, Lu Miaoyun, Li Xingrua, and others, but it also greatly helps him. He awakened the Tai divine soul due to his Tai soul body. Currently, he has beginner knowledge in alchemy, artifact refining, talisman making, puppetry, and has a solid foundation, making it possible to go further if he chooses to quietly study. Simultaneously, Lu Changxing thought about the Tianyuan scripture from the Tianyuan True Monarch, planning to study it later and see if any of his children at home might be suitable. After all, having promised the Tianyuan True Monarch to find a successor, Lu ancestor naturally intends to fulfill, even exceed, that promise. Zi Xiao, Sister Miaoge, you both should organize these cultivation technique inheritances and ancient texts when the time comes. Lu Changxing chatted briefly with his wives and then rested together. The next day, Lu Changxing prepared to enter the Treasure Emperor Lotus to collect the items inside. Suddenly, the Treasure Emperor Lotus surged with a ripple, seemingly repulsed by Mount Sumeru Cave Heaven. What's happening? Cave Heaven repulsion? Lu Changxing frowned slightly, realizing the situation. His divine sense could enter the Treasure Emperor Lotus, but he couldn't open it or enter it. Mount Sumeru. Lu Changxing inquired Mount Sumeru. The latter immediately indicated that the two Cave Heaven forces were repulsed, and forcibly opening them might lead to instability in the Cave Heaven. Unless he advances further to 4th rank, allowing accommodation of such small Cave Heaven like the Treasure Emperor Lotus. I see. Lu Changxing understood the reasoning, akin to storage bags not being able to contain storage bags. Changxing, what's wrong? At this moment, Lu Miaoge noticed Lu Changxing's actions and asked. Lu Changxing laughed and explained the situation, then spent some time with the ladies before leaving the Changxing Hall. System, extract. Now that the Cave Heaven Spirit Vein had advanced to 3rd rank, Lu Changxing naturally prepared to plant the 5-element spirit fruit tree from his system space. Even though the 3rd rank spirit vein also struggles to sustain such 4th rank spirit plant. But he wouldn't let the 5-element spirit fruit tree grow on its own, instead directly using the myriad spirits bottle for accelerated maturation. Whoa! Instantly, an oddly shaped, spiritually rich, vividly colored ancient tree appeared. Its trunk is tall and sturdy, covered with a dense network of textures, emitting a sense of some Earth's principles. The tree's leaves gleam with varied hues, some shimmering with golden light, sharp and firm, some blazing like flames, intensely, some crystal clear and azure, dazzling, some vibrant green, full of life, some in mysterious yellow, primitive and solid. But upon closer examination, you'll see the 5-colored leaves intricately interwoven, the sheen and texture flowing, forming a mystical trajectory, seemingly alternating the 5 elements. Such 4th rank spirit plant compared to 3rd rank spirit plant, is extraordinary beyond comparison. Lu Changxing sighed inwardly. This 5-element spirit fruit tree, even before bearing fruit, emitted a refreshing aroma, refreshing the mind, aiding in awakening. If someone cultivating the 5 elements technique consistently practices near this spirit fruit tree, it would likely yield twice the results with half the effort. Husband, what kind of tree is this, so wondrous? Chu Zhenjin, Lu Miaohuan, and other ladies gazed in astonishment at the spirit fruit tree before them. It's hard to imagine an ancient tree appearing so peculiar. Ling Zixiao instantly recognized what kind of tree it was and exclaimed in surprise, "Is this the 5-element spirit fruit tree?" "That's correct, This tree is named the Five Elements Spirit Fruit Tree. Lu Changxing cheerfully introduced, this tree bears fruit every 300 years and matures at 500 years, its fruits known as golden core fruits, capable of increasing the core formation probability by 30%, and aiding the condensation of superior grade gold core. With the Myriad Spirits bottle, the family can regularly keep several 5 elements spirit fruits, making Sister Miaoga, Zi Xiao, Little Linger's future core formation easier. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1343. After finishing, he looked at Lu Miaoyun, Chu Zhenzhen, and Lu Miaohuan, smiling. Yuner, Zhenzhen, Huanhuan, when you reach core formation in the future, you can also try a piece. It might help you too. Although the heavenly longevity technique they practiced theoretically didn't require external aids. But giving a piece to the wives to try was still possible. Thank you, husband. Thank you, brother. The women were very moved, especially Lu Miaoga and Ling Zixiao. The two of them had a fair hope of breaking through to core formation. But regarding this realm, they still lacked confidence. If there were top-level spiritual objects like 5 elements spirit fruit as assistants, there would be a greater chance to break through core formation in the future. If they could collect certain core formation spiritual objects and coagulation crystal elixir, they might even hope to achieve superior grade gold core. Brother, what about me? Binger, who was nestled in Lu Changsheng's arms and sniffing his scent, suddenly spoke. She also started calling him brother along with Bai Ling. You have it too. Lu Changxing rubbed the girl's head, smiling indulgently. Binger seemed not to need cultivation, just sleeping continuously could slowly enhance her. However, the home spirit vein environment was insufficient, which slowed Binger's growth. Zhenzhen, later, used the Myriad Spirits Heaven Dew from the Myriad Spirits bottle to cultivate the 5 elements spirit fruit tree. Lu Changxing said to his wife. Previously, most of the Myriad Spirits Heaven Dew was used to cultivate the Tianyuan Supreme King Lotus, later for the Tianyuan Lotus and Golden Armor Bean Mother. Okay. Chu Zhenzhen nodded. Every wife at home would manage something. The Myriad Spirits bottle was handed to Chu Zhenzhen by Lu Changxing. After chatting with the women for a while, Lu Changxing took them out of Mount Sumeru Cave Heaven, entering the Tianyuan Lotus. They didn't feel much towards the Tianyuan Lotus, this little cave, after staying for a long time in Mount Sumeru Cave Heaven, only that the spiritual energy inside was quite dense. Lu Changxing, taking Lu Miaoga and Ling Zixiao, toured the study before bringing Lu Miaoyun, Chu Zhenzhen, and Lu Miaohuan to the Jade Field. Signal the 3 women to take action, protect the 3 medicinal treasures during the transplant. Huh. A gourd. After uprooting the infant cultivation flower and heaven-replenishing fungus, Lu Changxing saw a gourd-like fruit under the messy vines with purple golden luster flowing. The fruit was entirely deep purple with a hint of golden luster, about the size of an adult's palm. Sar the Novel Fire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. What kind of gourd is this? Lu Changxing scrutinized it for a while, unsure of its origin. Then, using great magical power, he took the whole piece of jade field soil, left the Tianyuan Lotus with the 3 women, and returned to Mount Sumeru Cave Heaven. Hong Lian, do you recognize this gourd? Lu Changxing came to the Peachwood Spirit Womb, asking Hong Lian. Sir, this should not be a gourd. If I'm not mistaken, it is a fruit of the mysterious dark vine, called mysterious dark fruit. But I remember mysterious dark fruit doesn't look like this. This one might have undergone some mutation. Hong Lian pondered for a moment before speaking. All right. Lu Changxing felt a bit disappointed. He thought it was a gourd embryo to craft his own life-bound magic treasure, the Yin-Yang creation gourd. What effects does this mysterious dark fruit have? Lu Changxing continued to ask. The mysterious dark fruit can bring the dead back to life, regrow flesh on bones. Even if a nascent soul cultivator is seriously injured, it can barely preserve their vitality, keep the physical body from decaying, and is one of the main ingredients for refining profound dark elixir. Profound dark elixir is quite beneficial to ghost cultivators, corpses, or those practicing demonic cultivation techniques in this aspect. Hong Lian slowly introduced the effects of the mysterious dark fruit. After hearing that it wasn't the gourd he was expecting, Lu Changxing lost interest. He decided to keep the mysterious dark vine as it is for now, to be used as a life-saving treasure medicine in the future. Lord, the ancient manuscripts of this Tianyuan true monarch are truly extensive. Moments later, Ling Zixiao and Lu Miaoge returned to Mount Sumeru Cave Heaven, happily sharing the manuscript inheritance with him. Especially Ling Zixiao. Her formation path had already reached the 3rd rank, but she lacked further inheritance. Now having obtained the Heavenly Star Formation Path True Solution, this 4th rank formation inheritance, she could make progress in formation path once again. Zixiao, you won't be bored in the coming days. Lu Changxing laughed, knowing she had always wanted 4th rank formation inheritance. Not to mention 4th rank formation inheritance. Even 3rd rank formation inheritance was extremely rare on the market. Congratulations to Sister Ling for advancing in formation again. Lu Miaoyan laughed and congratulated. She knew Ling Zixiao had extraordinary talent in formations, already a 3rd rank array master. With such an inheritance, she would surely improve further. It's still early. Ling Zixiao, with her charming appearance, elegant and dignified, shook her head with a smile. Though her formation path reached the 3rd rank, it lacked practice. Moreover, her cultivation level was only at Foundation Establishment 4th layer, making many 3rd rank formations challenging to attempt. It's just a matter of time. Lu Changxing said with a smile. Knowing there's nothing urgent at home, Lu Changxing wasn't in a hurry to appear, checking which family forces targeted his family. Also taking this opportunity to temper the children at home. Otherwise, relying solely on him as the father for support, it would be too hard to break through into core formation in the future. Lu Changxing walked out of Mount Sumeru Cave Heaven to visit other concubines. At this time, in the formless domain, Nangong Mili felt the resistance vanish and immediately shouted, Lu Changxing, how long do you plan to keep me locked up? I also want to release Mili, but your temperament is really worrying to me. Once I'm done and head to Jin Kingdom, I'll let you out. Lu Changxing paused his steps and said. Lu Changxing, you bastard. Nangong Mili immediately cursed, feeling a bit panicked, fearing Lu Changxing would go to the 5 Poisons cult to fight her for their daughter. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1344, Thinking about whether or not to find an opportunity to escape. Mili, it has been a hardship for you during this time. Lu Changxing said warmly. Then, with a slight movement of his mental spirit, the formless treasure will spun, unleashing an unseen force, making it difficult for Nangong Mili to see the outside situation. After finishing, Lu Changxing went to the Lu family mansion to see his 2 children born some days ago. Perhaps he had broken through to core formation, the probability of giving birth to offspring with spiritual roots had increased, and both children had spiritual roots. It's just that the spiritual roots were quite average. One had a 5th grade spiritual root, the other a 6th grade spiritual root. While Lu Changxing was accompanying his wife and concubine, he heard the news that Xiao Xie had come. Xie has come? Lu Changxing's heart slightly paused. He had Xiao Xie come to Mount Sumeru Cave Heaven. Changxing, you're back. Seeing Lu Changxing, Xiao Xie's cold and peerlessly beautiful face immediately showed a gentle and joyful expression. During these days, she had also been worried about Lu Changxing's situation. Xie, I've made you worry. Lu Changxing stepped forward, held her hand, and spoke softly. Immediately, Xiao Xie expressed that her master wanted him to go to Qingyun's sect after returning. Kaiyan True Immortal wants me to go to Qingyun's sect? Hearing this, Lu Changxing's expression couldn't help but freeze slightly. Previously, he had realized that after Chu Qingyi returned, Yun Wanshang might suspect and guess his situation. Now, only 3 days after he returned, Xiao Xia came, indicating that Yun Wanshang was very likely aware of his matters with Chu Qingyi. Although he had previously faced Chu Qingyi and firmly and seriously indicated he would propose to Kaiyun True Immortal, when it came to this point, he still felt a bit uneasy. It wasn't fear of what Kaiyun True Immortal might do to him, just pure guilt. Just like when he wanted to marry Lu Miaoge and Lu Miaohuan in his early years, he faced Lu Yuanding with a guilty conscience, and ultimately asked the Lu family ancestor to mediate the marriage. Now he not only had relationships with Xiao Xia and Chu Qingyi, but also with Kaiyun True Immortal. Even Lu Changxing himself felt a bit of a headache. Alright, it'll go over later. Lu Changxing took a deep breath, nodded, and said. Such matters, whether hiding or confronting, must be faced sooner or later. Besides, he should also find an opportunity to go to Qingyun's sect to see Chu Qingyi. Changxing, Yuan's senior sister. At this moment, Xiao Xia looked at Lu Changxing, with a hint of suspicion and scrutiny in her beautiful eyes. Although the master hadn't said much, she sensed something unusual. Moreover, she understood Lu Changsheng's nature after all these years. Being with her senior sister for so long, having shared life and death together, she found it hard to believe there was no entanglement at all. This matter, Xiao Xia would know sooner or later, and Lu Changxing didn't want to deceive her. He sighed and said, alas, it's all the work of fate. At that time, when I saw that Qingyi True Master was critically injured, at the brink of life and death, how could I stand by and do nothing? But after I saved Qingyi True Master, I discovered her injuries were extremely severe, with all her meridians and bones shattered, and even her true elixir damaged. In this situation, medicinal stones were of no use. Even if life was barely sustained, she would be reduced to a cripple. However, at this time, a voice said that she could be saved. I hesitated for a moment, half believing and half doubting, and went to the source of the voice, only to find out that Tianyuan True Monarch was no good person, and the method to save her was by using the Sun-Moon Samsara technique. I was unwilling to do so, but seeing Qingyi True Master's life in jeopardy, I ultimately had no choice. Saying this, Lu Changxing sighed deeply once more and said with a helpless expression. Xiao Xia, seeing Lu Changxing's sighing and helpless expression, said angrily, I think you're getting benefits and pretending otherwise. I don't believe you have no feelings for senior sister. Sar the novel Fire. Net ** website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Xia, such words are mistaken. Lu Changxing immediately embraced his gentle wife's slender waist, holding her in his arms, and said, everyone has a love for beauty. With a woman like Qingyi True Master, whether in looks or talent, she is unmatched. To say I have no thoughts and no heartache would be self-deception. You wouldn't believe it either, Xia. But as she is Xia's senior sister, would naturally maintain a distance, but alas, fate played its tricks, Lu Changxing said helplessly, indicating that his heart was clear, and the sun and moon could witness it. Humph. Upon hearing this, Xiao Xia was somewhat annoyed and punched her husband's chest with a fist, feeling he was acting modest despite having gained an advantage. However, after understanding the situation, she could accept it. Her senior sister's situation at the time was perilous. Losing oneself was better than falling. Then, she worriedly said, if Master summoned you, doesn't that mean she knows about you and senior sister? Although her master was a person of fairness and reason, she seemed to have an opinion about Lu Changxing. Now that Lu Changxing was involved with her senior sister, even if he saved her, Master might still be upset. At this moment, Xiao Xia didn't quite know what to say. As a hall master of the enforcement hall, she is surely a fair and just person, likely won't do anything. Lu Changxing felt warm in his heart, holding Xiao Xia's hand, and comforted her aloud. I'll go with you when the time comes. Xiao Xia said softly. Thinking that Lu Changxing had not only saved senior sister but had also saved Master in the past, Master would likely not do anything severe, just summon Lu Changxing to ask some questions. But thinking of Lu Changxing saving her master, her heart turned slightly strange, and she suddenly asked, Changxing, do you usually have any contact with Master? Lu Changxing's heart skipped, but his face remained unchanged as he said, apart from the Sima family affair, I haven't been able to meet the true man. Although I have a true man token, I wouldn't dare disturb without reason. For matters regarding Chu Qingyi, he dared to tell Xiao Xie. But as for matters concerning Yun Wanshang, he didn't quite know how to start. Although regarding Yun Wanshang, he was the victim, but considering that the three of them as master and disciples all. Lu Chongqing felt unjustified for some unknown reason. Xiao Xie nodded gently. Her master had been in closed-door cultivation for years, indeed wouldn't have any contact with Lu Chongqing. Xie, now that Qingyi true master has just returned, if I also immediately return, it would easily draw attention, so there's no rush to see the true man. Your Sun Moon Samsara technique is about half a step from small achievement, let's make good use of this time to practice. Lu Chongqing didn't continue to say much, holding his gentle wife, and entered the Chongqing Hall. He planned to take a trip to Jin Kingdom, thinking there was something lingering. The cultivation technique issue of Xiao Xie definitely ranked foremost. So he planned to complete the soul fusion early in these days and then deal with the supreme forgetful love technique problem as he envisioned. With this done, he would have more confidence when meeting Kaiyun True Immortal, Qingyun Market. The Qingyun spirit ship slowly descended. A 26 or 27-year-old woman, with narrow eyes and crimson lips, a charming and spirited visage, wearing black and sporting a high ponytail, stepped off the spirit ship. She took a map from her storage bag and glanced at it. Seeing the location of Bai Lake Mountain, she immediately mounted her flying sword and flew towards Bai Lake Mountain. If you find any errors, ads pop-up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1345, Jin Kingdom, Black Mist Swamp. Amidst the mountain forests filled with purplish-black toxic mist and miasma, more than a dozen cultivators were wandering about. If you observe closely, you can see many fearsome-looking venomous insects lurking on the ground, and dozens of ghost souls floating about. Chu Changtian has been in the mist swamp for a year. No matter what, he couldn't possibly come out alive, right? We're only patrolling the outer areas, and we're already corroded by the poison cloud. How could someone survive so long without elixir medicines? Orders are orders, what can we do? Hang in there, I heard from Brother Ting that guarding for another half a year should be enough. These people whispered softly, a bit helpless. The black mist swamp is constantly filled with poison vapor. If not for purchasing a batch of detoxification pills from the Five Poisons cult, even though they are Foundation establishment cultivators, over time, their physical body and chi blood would be eroded, affecting their foundations. And although Chu Changtian, whom they are pursuing, is extraordinary, in the end, he is still just a Foundation establishment cultivator. At this moment, a shrill voice suddenly came from not far away. Buzz buzz buzz, chirp chirp chirp, chatter chatter chatter. At the same time, the venomous insects on the ground roared and trembled, and the ghost souls floated and shrieked. They immediately looked through the purplish-black mist and saw a figure draped in a black cloak standing not far away. On the ground lay the figure of one of their own, engulfed in purplish-green flames. Chu Changtian, you're still alive. Quick, send a message to Brother Teng. Seeing this scene, these people were as if seeing a ghost. They exclaimed in shock, and instead of attacking immediately, they sent a message to their senior brother. After all, they had all witnessed the strength of this Chu Changtian. Clearly, only at the Foundation establishment 4th level, his strength was not weaker than many in the late stage of Foundation establishment. Especially with the 6-winged golden silkworm in his hand, it was simply relentless and hard to defend against. One careless mistake and you wouldn't even know how you died. However, just as they began to speak, they saw the black-cloaked figure fly towards them like a heavenly pang. Buzz! Lu Quanzhen's body was engulfed in surging purplish-green flames, making the cold face concealed under the cloak somewhat terrifying and intimidating, and then he conjured a purplish-green gourd. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, from the gourd, an extremely dense purplish-black toxic gas surged out, then coalesced into a giant hand of poison gas, slapping down with a thunderous roar. Not good. Be careful. These people, seeing this scene, immediately became solemn, their mana surged, and they summoned their magic artifacts. Boom! Sir the novel, F. Iyer. Et website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Purplish-green flames and the poison gas hand blasted out simultaneously. The few people closest suddenly had their mana in disorder, staggering and retreating. Pfft! However, in that instant, a slender golden light shot forth, piercing through the brow of one person, who fell to the ground with a thud. Brother Luo. They saw this scene, their eyes filled with horror and dread. This person not only didn't die in the black mist swamp, but seemingly had even reached a higher level. Chu Changtian, you're actually still alive. My long wait here hasn't been in vain. As Lu Chuanjin continued to act, a stern voice came through. Then a tall figure clad in green vine armor shot towards this place. He was both angry and astonished in his eyes. It was unexpected that Lu Chuanjin not only survived but also gained a fortuitous encounter. He had been waiting here not knowing if Lu Chuanjin was alive. Rather, he didn't know how he would report back to his master, Ghost Demon True Master, so he waited more days as proof of thorough search. This time, let's see where you can escape. He didn't say much, his hands formed a gesture incantation, summoning an immensely intimidating dark sword, and charged at Lu Chuanjin, with formidable and aggressive momentum. Escape. Underneath Lu Quanzhen's black cloak, his narrow eyes flashed with a cold glint, the yin-yang 5 elements Kunpeng technique circulated, and a Kunpeng great fish appeared behind him, causing the surrounding poison vapor to surge like a boundless sea. Boom! The giant sword clashed with the Kunpeng great fish, a tremendous and astonishing mana shock wave raged and swept through, making the venomous insects and ghost souls roar and tremble. Kill! The other cultivators chasing Lu Chuanjin also rushed over, attacking him in unison, determined to kill him here. Poisonous miasma gourd. Lu Chuanjin was fearless, his eyes flashing with fierceness. He fiercely struck his chest, spitting out a blood arrow landing on the purplish-green gourd overhead. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, the originally 1-foot gourd instantly enlarged to a zhang in size. A constant stream of poison gas as dense as wolf smoke surged out, covering the sky and forming numerous huge dragon snakes that charged at them menacingly. Not good. These people, seeing this, were startled. Just make sure he doesn't escape. Brother Tang, seeing this, shouted sternly, his foundation establishment peak mana surged like a mighty river, forming an intimidating spiritual pressure, making the giant sword greatly radiate, breaking through the Kunpeng great fish with a roar. Clang! Lu Quanzhen's expression remained unchanged, and he instantly cast a purple treasure bead and talisman to defend against the giant sword coming towards him, then formed a gesture incantation with both hands. The recently shattered Kunpeng great fish transformed into numerous inch-long dark tiny fishes, charging at the other cultivators. Several cultivators under the attack of the dark tiny fishes had wounds appear, then their flesh and mana were corroded by the poisonous dragon snake. The 6-winged golden silkworm appeared, directly piercing through several people's hearts and heads, causing them to fall to the ground with a thud. Damn it! Brother Tang, seeing this, his eyes filled with ferocity. With so many dead today, if he can't bring back Lu Quanzhen's head, he wouldn't be able to explain. Go! Seeing the situation, Lu Chuanjin signaled at the 6-winged golden silkworm, and with yin-yang energies flowing around him like a peng bird, he suddenly flew into the depths of the black mist swamp. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1346. Even if it means injuring my vitality today, I must kill you. Brother Ting saw this scene and made a gesture incantation with his hands, his entire aura soaring rapidly, accompanied by ghostly cries and howls that chilled the heart. He naturally knew that Lu Chuanjin had some reliance, unafraid of the poisonous miasma of the black mist swamp. But he also understood that if Lu Chuanjin escaped again today, he would have no chance of killing him. Upon returning, only his master's punishment awaited. Moreover, he had some fear and dread towards Lu Chuanjin. The other party, in the early stage of Foundation establishment years ago, had killed his master's son. For years, he had been hunted, yet not only did he survive, he even grew rapidly, with several Foundation establishment late-stage cultivators dying at his hands. Now, forced into the black mist swamp by him, he still survived. If he couldn't kill him, once Lu Chuanjun broke through to the Foundation establishment late stage, the danger would be on himself. After all, this Chu Changtian, who for more than a decade sought revenge for every slight, had wiped out several families that had hunted him before. Whoosh! Lu Chuanjun saw Brother Ting fighting desperately, shooting like a ghostly light, immediately taking out several talismans from his bosom, casting them as he continued to madly flee. This path he had determined earlier, knowing there were no demon beast dangers along the way. This, should we pursue? The remaining few people saw this situation, their faces hesitant, wondering whether to continue the chase. Chase, if this Chu Changtian escapes, Ghost Demon True Master will blame us, and we cannot afford it. Immediately, someone flew in pursuit in the direction of the two. Continuing the chase, they might die. Not chasing, going back might be a fate worse than death. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The others seeing this, also gritted their teeth and chased after Lu Chuanjun and Brother Ting. Boom! At this time Brother Ting used some kind of blood-burning technique, his speed astonishingly fast, closing in on Lu Chuanjun in the blink of an eye, striking with a palm, like 100 ghosts parading at night, 10,000 ghosts wailing. The giant ghostly sword overhead shone with great light, chopping down with immense force. Puff! Lu Chuanjun summoned a treasure bead, emitting radiant light, enveloping himself, but under the sword's attack, his throat turned sweet as he spat blood. He immediately used the force to fly horizontally, commanding the six-winged golden silkworm to swiftly attack Brother Ting. Clang! Brother Ting's body, clad in green vine armor, shone with demonic light as the six-winged golden silkworm struck it, producing a crisp metallic sound. The six-winged golden silkworm, not hitting its mark, turned into a golden light and disappeared. Let's see where you escaped to. Brother Ting's face was twisted and ferocious, continuing to chase Lu Chuanjun, ghastly ghost runes gradually emerging on his body. Facing Brother Ting's pursuit, Lu Chuanjun found it difficult to withstand, retreating step by step, his face gradually turning pale, his breath in disarray. At this moment, buzz, 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 suddenly, black beams of light burst forth from the ground, emitting an eerie glow, enveloping Brother Ting. Formation. Brother Ting's face turned fierce, knowing Lu Chuanjun had laid a trap long ago, deliberately leading him here. But with extraordinary insight, he could see this was merely a simple formation arranged by an array device, not a great formation. Break it for me. He slapped his storage bag, producing a prohibition-breaking talisman, then making a gesture incantation, causing ghosts to wail, intending to tear the formation apart. However, just at this moment. Boom, boom, boom. A series of earth-shaking explosions erupted. Damn it. Brother Ting's face drastically changed, not expecting Lu Chuanjun had buried thunder pearls in the ground. He hastily activated his green vine armor to the utmost, forming a huge wooden vine figure to enshroud him. Under this attack, the wooden vine figure was instantly blasted to tatters. Moments later, Brother Ting, disheveled and extremely wretched, howled at Lu Chuanjun like a fierce ghost, "I'll have you dead." This vine armor was an ancestral treasure of his family, having helped him through numerous life and death crises. But now it was nearly destroyed. He didn't die from this? Lu Quanzhen's expression was cold, somewhat surprised. It should be known, each of these Yin Thunder beads could blast a Foundation establishment late-stage cultivator to death. To think he buried 7 and still didn't kill the other. But at least I've broken your turtle shell. Seeing the vine armor broken on the other's body, the black cloak flapped sharply, a fierce light in his eyes. Facing this person was troublesome, due to being unable to break through this exotic treasure. Kill. Lu Chuanjun made a gesture incantation with both hands, a Kunpeng behind him roared and howled, leaping like a fish into the sea, soaring like an eagle in the sky, accompanied by demonic sounds, surging with rolling poison attacking Brother Tang. CTH Novel Fire. Net ** website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Die. Brother Tang's terrifying face covered in ghost runes, palm like a strange ghost hand, attacked Lu Chuanjun. The giant ghostly sword continued to strike out with domineering force. Boom, boom, boom. The two attacks exploded with a reverberating roar, rippling in all directions, causing the poisonous miasma in the air to form a tornado hurricane. Lu Chuanjun fell into a disadvantage instantaneously. Yet the surging poison also engulfed Brother Tang, eroding his flesh, turning his face a purplish black. Die for me. Brother Tang's hair danced wildly, his foundation establishment peak mana surged frantically, roaring hideously. He knew, if he didn't kill Lu Chuanjun today, he couldn't leave the black mist swamp. Boom! The ghostly sword coursed with demon runes, shattered the Kuanpeng. The eerie ghost hand pierced straight through Lu Quanzhen's chest. Lu Quanzhen's eyes lowered, gazing at the ghost hand in his chest, a look of disbelief on his face. Ha ha ha, Brother Tang laughed heartily. But the next moment, his laughter froze. A golden light suddenly burst through his chest, spitting blood. And Lu Quanzhen's body gradually turned into an earthen, fabricated dummy. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know your report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1347. Not far away, Lu Chuanjun appeared, his face pale and bloodless. His hands formed a gesture incantation, and the poisonous mist gourd hovering in the heavenly dome instantly suppressed Brother Tang, accompanied by a deluge of poisonous mist. SSSSS. At this moment, the six-winged golden silkworm no longer avoided confrontation. Its ferocious and bloodthirsty aura surged, attacking wildly as if it had nothing to lose, devouring Brother Tang's internal organs and causing him to scream in agony. Brother Tang. A few people arriving not far away witnessed this scene, their faces filled with disbelief. Ha ha ha, you still dare to chase after us. Seeing these people, Lu Chuanjun hoarsely sneered, as a terrifying black Kuanpeng appeared above, causing the poisonous mist to surge fiercely. Run, quickly run. Brother Tang is dead, let's go quickly. These people saw the scene and were terrified, immediately turning to flee. They hadn't been very keen on pursuing from the start. Now, seeing Brother Tang die at Lu Quanzhen's hands, they were scared out of their wits and had no desire to pursue further. Cough, cough, cough. Lu Chuanjun witnessed this but did not pursue, clutching his chest and coughing up blood. This Brother Tang's strength far exceeded his expectations, and he only managed a chance with the puppet replacement technique. At this moment, he had no strength to continue the battle. If he continued to fight, it would risk harming his own foundation. Once these people escape, the ghost demon true master may very likely come here. I can't stay here long. No, I can't even stay in the Jin Kingdom any longer, Lu Chuanjun murmured to himself, looking at the nearly lifeless Brother Tang, a magical sword appearing in his hand. He chopped off his head, then rolled up his corpse and hurried away, by Lake Mountain. Congratulations to the host's first offspring for becoming a second-rank artifact refiner, earning a chance to draw a prize. On this day, Lu Changxing was cultivating the Sun-Moon Samsara technique with Xiao Xie when a system prompt sounded. Second-rank artifact refiner? Lu Changxing guessed it must be his son Lu Yunlu advancing to second-rank artifact refiner. This son showed considerable talent in artifact refining, already being a first-grade top-level artifact refiner. Now with the breakthrough to foundation establishment, it was normal to make some progress in cultivation level, divine sense, and the path of artifact refining. Lu Changxing didn't pay much attention and continued practicing the Sun-Moon Samsara technique with Xiao Xie. Several days later, the two took a break. Sarch * the novel _fire. @ website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Holding the blushing, languid-faced Xiao Xie, Lu Changxing also proceeded to use the lottery he had previously earned. System, draw. Accompanied by the familiar interface of a big wheel, a flame pattern emerged. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining the 3rd rank fire seed, Burning Heart Flame. The reward has been issued to the system space. The host can check it at any time. Burning Heart Flame? Lu Changsheng raised an eyebrow lightly, his expression calm. Though he possessed the Thunder Gang Dragon Flame, this Burning Heart Flame was likely of little use to him. But now ordinary draws were generally of little use to him unless incredibly lucky, so there was no disappointment. Fire Seed, Burning Heart Flame, Quality, 3rd rank, Description. A flame formed from the fall of a 3rd rank great demon malicious heart beast in an endless sea of fire, invisible and colorless, capable of stirring others' heart flames, 7 emotions, and 6 desires. Heart flames also have a burning and refining mana effect. Stirring heart flames and 7 emotions and 6 desires. Lu Changsheng was somewhat pleasantly surprised by this effect. His pure and potent yin-yang magic power naturally didn't need external objects to refine mana. But this ability to stir 7 emotions and 6 desires seemed excellent to him. Practicing the 6 desires heart demon technique requires stirring 7 emotions and 6 desires. Yet under normal circumstances, cultivating through 7 emotions and 6 desires is dangerous, troublesome, and hard to control. With the Burning Heart Flame, it became much simpler and more convenient. And the burning and refining mana effect, though of no use to me, could be useful for others at home. If the mana of my wife, concubines, and children could all be refined, then our family's overall strength could be enhanced by a level. Lu Changsheng pondered silently, aware of the importance of condensing mana. But since I already have the Thunder Gang Dragon Flame, wanting to refine the Burning Heart Flame is very troublesome, and might even cause conflict between spiritual fires. Even if refined, using the Burning Heart Flame to refine mana for others is inefficient and would hinder cultivation. Wait, suddenly, his thoughts paused, realizing he was caught in a mental trap. Why should he refine the Burning Heart Flame himself? Just like a spirit plant of the world, simply placing the Burning Heart Flame somewhere in the house would suffice. The wife, concubines, and children at home could use it to refine mana or hone their Tao hearts through 7 emotions and 6 desires. Furthermore, the effect of the Burning Heart Flame stirring 7 emotions and 6 desires could be suppressed by Mount Sumru, preserving only the mana refining effect. Can the Burning Heart Flame only refine mana? Could it refine spiritual power as well? Energy refining cultivators naturally cannot withstand the effects of the Burning Heart Flame, but what if by some means the effect of heart flames was weakened to a level they could endure? As a 3rd rank artifact refiner, Lu Changsheng quickly had a rough concept in mind. He only needed to forge a Linglong pagoda and place the Burning Heart Flame inside. Depending on the level of the pagoda, different levels of heart flame effects could be achieved. At the minimum, energy refining cultivators could use the Burning Heart Flame to refine spiritual power. The more Lu Changsheng thought about it, the more feasible it seemed, and he even wanted to start constructing it right away. Changsheng, what's wrong? Nearby, with her hair disheveled and cheeks flushed, Xiaoxia languidly asked. It's nothing, I just suddenly had an enlightenment on a cultivation problem and was momentarily overjoyed. Lu Changsheng immediately replied to the beautiful woman in front of him, happily pressing a kiss on her lips as delicate as flower petals. By Lake Mountain, outside the mountain gate. A woman in black descended on a sword from the sky. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know if report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1348. I wonder what business does Senior have at my by Lake Mountain? The Lu family disciples and cultivators stationed at the mountain gate immediately cupped their hands in salute upon seeing the woman. Although their by Lake Mountain was a false core family, they still held Foundation establishment cultivators in high regard. After all, no matter where, Foundation establishment cultivators are like an elder, it's best not to offend them if you can avoid it. Besides, they were only energy refining cultivators, so they felt instinctive reverence before a Foundation establishment great cultivator. May I ask if Lu Pingon is at home? The woman in black spoke out. After speaking, she added, I have an affair to discuss with him. Upon hearing this, the two Lu family disciples exchanged glances, saying, "Does Senior have a token?" Currently, Lu Pingan was akin to an ancestral figure on by Lake Mountain. Even if they knew his whereabouts, they wouldn't disclose them. After all, letting others know that their ancestor was out was an extremely risky matter. A token? The woman in black was startled and said, "You can notify him, just say that his friend Qin Yi has come to visit." "A friend? Please wait, Senior, I will go and notify you." One of them spoke, heading off to inform the family head, Lu Xingyang. "Qin Yi? Does my brother have such a friend?" Lu Xingyang, busy handling affairs, frowned slightly as he pondered upon hearing this. Then he went to consult Lu Yun. "Qin Yi?" Lu Yun shook his head, indicating he had never heard of this name. He paused his refinement of the dragon blood tree and went to the mountain gate, saying, "This Senior, my brother is currently in closed-door cultivation. Do you have any tokens? Otherwise, previously my brother instructed that he not be disturbed unless there is an urgent matter." Qin Yi knew this was the excuse used for refusing guests. She hesitated and said, "Is Lu Mingyue in the family? She should know me." Lu Mingyue? Lu Yun was baffled, carefully recalling if there was such a person in the family. In his impression, there wasn't such a name. But there were indeed many siblings in his family, perhaps he had forgotten. After pondering for a moment and confirming there was no such person, he said, "Is Senior mistaken? We do not have a Lu Mingyue in our family." "No." Qin Yi frowned slightly. The letters she received constantly praised a sister named Mingyue, almost to a ridiculous extent. And Qin Yi also realized that the letters she received were not from Lu Pingan, but from the girl named Lu Mingyue. Could she be using an alias? Qin Yi speculated in her heart immediately. After all, judging by the letters, this person was quite unreliable. Mingyue might be a nickname she uses, claiming to be Lu Pingan's sister. Do you have someone like that in your family? Qin Yi spoke out. Even though she had quite a few letters in her possession. But the content of these letters wasn't too embarrassing. Even if it wasn't the person herself, it couldn't serve as a token. Nickname? Lu Yun contemplated upon hearing this and suddenly thought of his sister Lu Wangsha's small courtyard, named Mingyue Residence. If the woman before him was a foundation establishment cultivator and came seeking his elder brother, also recognizing Wang Shu, it made some sense. But the problem is that Lu Wangshu is currently not at home either. Otherwise, going to buy Shui Lake might lead to this sister. It seems we have someone like that, but coincidentally, she is not in the family right now. Lu Yun said politely, "If Senior could leave contact information, once my brother exits seclusion, or when Mingyue returns, I will inform them. Alternatively, Senior could stay at our by Lake Mountain for a few days." Having served as family head for many years, he had developed some skill in recognizing people. Judging by speech and expressions, he felt the other person was not like a deceitful loose cultivator and could indeed be an acquaintance of his elder brother. "All right." Qin Yi nodded, understanding that in the cultivation world, it was very cumbersome to meet someone. Especially since Lu Pingan had already become the Lu family ancestor, it was even more unlikely he would meet guests easily. After Lu Yun invited Qin Yi to stay at Baiyun Villa reserved for guest reception, he also instructed Lu Xingyang to send someone to White Tiger Mountain to inform his elder brother. White Tiger Mountain. After practicing fists with his sister Lu Lingyi, Lu Pingan returned home for a meal. Ordinary cultivators might often fast. But body-refining cultivators often eat more than ordinary people, requiring demon beast meat for every meal. "Brother, Xingyang has sent a message saying a woman named Qin Yi claims to be your friend, seeking you. Do you know her?" Seeing his elder brother feasting, Lu Qingsong said casually. "Qin Yi?" Lu Pingan's expression froze upon hearing the name, and he asked again, "Who did you say?" Seeing this, Lu Qingsong immediately took out a jade slip and handed it to his elder brother. Why did she come? Upon seeing the black-clothed woman in the jade slip, Lu Pingan's tall and robust figure grew stiff. "You know her?" Lu Qingsong had never seen his elder brother like this and asked aloud. I know her. After a brief silence, Lu Pingan spoke softly, not expecting her to come to Bai Lake Mountain looking for him. Yet she was truly daring and sincere, straightforward in her character. In his youth, she embarked alone to travel far, seeking the heavenly sword sect to become what she called a great sword immortal. Previously, during the Purple Shadow secret realm, she had also directly called out to him. Yet he was timid and dawdling. Big pot, who is it? Lu Lingyi, who was munching on her food with oil all over her mouth, asked curiously. An old acquaintance. Lu Pingan softly replied. At this moment, both Lu Qingsong and Lu Lingyi noticed something was amiss in their elder brother's expression. Is it someone Big Pot likes? Lu Lingyi with clear big eyes looked at her elder brother and asked aloud. Seeing his elder brother silent and speechless, Lu Qingsong was surprised and suspicious, feeling his sister might have guessed right. Could such a person as his elder brother feel this way about romantic feelings? At this moment, a hint of gossip sprouted in his heart. Sister once said if someone likes another, they'll become dull. Big Pot looks dazed now. Lu Lingyi, as though oblivious to her elder brother's expression, took another bite of meat and mumbled. Is brother going to see this Miss Qin? Lu Qingsong, upon watching his silent elder brother, asked cautiously. After a long silence, Lu Pingan said softly, yes, I will go to Bai Lake Mountain. In the past, he could pretend not to know or not to think about it. But since she had come to Bai Lake Mountain, he could no longer act as though he didn't know. Big Pot, I also want to go, I want to meet this sister. Lu Lingyi, with no sense of propriety, exclaimed crisply. All right, first finish eating. Lu Pingan lovingly rubbed his sister's bun hairstyle, speaking gently, wondering how to face her. Miss Qin, long time no see. Ah. He sighed inwardly. Sometimes, not wanting to go might mean can't go, or maybe truly not wanting to go. The novel, F.I.R. And a website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Either way, he ultimately did not go. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know your report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1349, White Tiger Mountain. Lu Qingsong watched the figures of his big brother and Xiaohe as they left, and the flames of gossip burned brightly in his heart. If he didn't need to stay at White Tiger Mountain, he would have wanted to return to Bai Lake Mountain to see what was going on. TSK, I never thought my big brother would act this way when faced with emotions. Lu Qingsong shook his head in amazement, finding it hard to believe that the usually tall and imposing big brother had this side to him. At this moment, he thought of his older brother Lu Qingshan. What would he be like if he had someone he loved? Though this big brother is proud and arrogant, with eyes set high, not many ladies would be able to catch his eye. CTH Novelier. N.E.T. website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Lu Pingan looked at the familiar Bai Lake Mountain before him, and for a moment felt a bit apprehensive. In his mind, he recalled a black-clad girl pursing her lips, emotionless, introducing herself. My father's surname is Qin, my mother's surname is Yi, so I'm called Qin Yi. She often told him her aspirations, that she wanted to become a great sword immortal. For this, she traveled alone, aiming to join the largest sword cultivation sect in Jiang country, the Heavenly Sword Sect. Big Pot, we've arrived. Lu Lingyi, as always, was without tact. Seeing his big brother standing still, he urged him to move and see this sister. Lu Pingan took a deep breath, grabbed his sister, and stepped into Bai Lake Mountain, heading to Bai Yun Peak to ask Lu Yun where Qin Yi was. Miss Qin is at the water pavilion in Bai Yun Villa. Lu Yun said to his big brother. Then looking at Xiaohe, who was full of joy and excitement, he paused and said, Xiaohe, brother Yun has something for you to help with, come with me. He had just talked to his mother yesterday about Qin Yi. His mother said father seemed to have mentioned that Pingan had a puppy love girlfriend, but the details weren't clear to Lu Miaoyun. So Lu Yun became cautious. Seeing his big brother return immediately, his demeanor seemed a bit different than usual, more restrained and less carefree. He suspected something. In this situation, he naturally didn't want the sister to disturb his brother meeting his beloved. "But I want to see Sister Qin," Lu Lingyi said with some reluctance. "The family just made new desserts and hopes someone will taste them, so I want to ask you for help, Xiaohe. Your sister Qin isn't leaving right now, we can go see her after we eat, it's quick." Lu Yun said, "Please, Xiaohe." Lu Lingyi hesitated for a moment and said, "Okay then. Big brother, you go and take care of your things." Lu Yun immediately said to his big brother, then took Xiaohe towards the meal hall. Lu Pingan forced a smile and nodded, took a deep breath, feeling heavy-footed as he walked to Baiyun Villa. At this moment, Qin Yi sat in the small pavilion, staring blankly into the distance at Baishui Lake. After learning about Lu Pingan's situation, she set off to come to Bai Lake Mountain on the Qingyun spirit ship. But now that she was at Bai Lake Mountain, she felt a little lost, not knowing why she came. Maybe just to ask a question, maybe expecting something, maybe expecting nothing at all, who could say? Just then, she snapped back to reality and noticed a tall and burly young man standing ahead. His features were rugged, not exactly handsome, but decent. With a tall and strong build, his presence was majestic. But at this moment, he seemed somewhat awkward. "Lu Pingan, why were the letters sent to the Heavenly Sword sect from Lu Mingyue and not from you? What's going on?" Qin Yi saw this young man and directly asked. "Ah." Startled by her words, Lu Pingan was taken aback. What did she mean? The letters sent to Heavenly Sword sect? Lu Mingyue? However, he indeed hadn't written any letters to Miss Qin. His sister Lu Wangshu had asked him about this before, but he chose avoidance. Looking at the skinny-eyed, red-lipped, cute-faced black-clad girl with a high ponytail ahead, he replied awkwardly, "Miss Qin, long time no see." "Long time no see? If I hadn't heard your name, Lu Pingan, by chance, I wouldn't know when we'd meet." The black-clad girl looked at him, as always naive, and spoke with displeasure. Lu Pingan hesitated, subconsciously wanting to scratch his head to relieve the embarrassment, but then lowered his raised hand. It had been a long time. But for some reason, it felt as if it were the first meeting. Pfft. Qin Yi laughed upon seeing the eldest son of the Bai Lake Mountain Lu family, renowned for defeating false core patriarchs, being so nervous and flustered in front of her. She stepped forward, smiling, "Lu Pingan, you haven't changed a bit." Miss Qin, you've gotten taller." Lu Pingan thought for a moment and said to the black-clad girl before him. Back then, Qin Yi barely reached his chest, now she's almost up to his shoulder. Qin Yi arched an eyebrow, slightly raised her head, looking at Lu Pingan who was a head taller than her. "Is being tall impressive?" "Ah." Lu Pingan was taken aback and quickly said he didn't mean that. "Then what do you mean? Are you saying that at the Purple Shadow Secret Realm, the Enping wasn't you, and you haven't seen me, so you don't know I've grown taller?" The black-clad girl continued to question. Lu Pingan felt more nervous than when he was facing Patriarch Sima, even sweating on his forehead. He truly didn't know how to answer these questions coming one after another. Big pot, big pot. Just then, a 16 or 17-year-old girl wearing a red outfit with a skirt, standing on windfire wheels, with two bun-style hairdos, flew in angrily. "Brother Yun tricked me. Said there'd be good food, but there wasn't. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 1350. In the conversation, there was quite a bit of grievance. Not far behind, Lu Yun was practically breaking out in a cold sweat. Phew. Lu Pingan heard the voice, as if waiting for a savior to arrive. He relaxed and touched his sister's head, then turned to Qin Yi and introduced, "Miss Qin, this is my sister." However, before he could finish his words, Lu Lingyi, with her bright eyes, looked at the woman in black openly and said, "Are you Qin-Yi's sister, the one Big Pot likes?" Lu Pingan's face froze, immediately covering his sister's mouth, feeling beads of sweat emerge on his forehead. Lu Lingyi couldn't say a word, her face full of grievance. Today not only did Brother Yun deceive her, but even Big Pot bullied her. Lu Pingan, is what she said true? Qin-Yi's expression was very calm, her ruby lips gracefully set as her chin lifted slightly, and she asked. Lu Pingan was at a loss for words, totally unsure of how to answer. Not far away, Lu Yun looked as if he'd seen a ghost. He hadn't thought his own elder brother could have such a side. It seems that this Miss Qin, no, this Lady Qin, is indeed his brother's beloved. But looking at this, it's clear that brother hadn't forgotten Miss Qin, so why haven't they met each other all along? You don't speak and even cover your sister's mouth, not allowing her to talk. Seeing Lu Pingan silent, Qin-Yi frowned slightly again, gazing at Lu Lingyi in her red dress, wondering if this was Lu Mingyue. It doesn't seem like she's that self-absorbed, mischievous. Big Pot also bullies me. Once Lu Ling's mouth was released and she could speak again, she was immediately full of grievance. But her sadness faded fast, as she floated over to the woman in black and said, "Sister Qin-Yi, my name is Lu Lingyi, you can call me Little He." "Hello Little He, you know me?" Qin-Yi showed a slight smile and inquired. "I heard from Brother Qing's song that there's a sister here to see Big Pot, and when Big Pot saw you, Sister Qin-Yi, he was so dazed, as my sister says, only when encountering someone he likes would he be dazed." Little He said crisply, her voice sharp and clear. "She's friendly with everyone she meets, quite personable." She continued to ask, "Sister Qin-Yi, how did you meet Big Pot?" "A long time ago." Qin-Yi's eyes showed a trace of reminiscing. She still clearly remembers when she was being chased by a tiger demon. Lu Pingan appeared and using martial skills and talismans, killed the tiger demon. She remembered him with the look of a foolish son of a landlord's family. But he being the eldest son of the Bai Lake Mountain Lu family, calling him a foolish son of a landlord family doesn't seem off. Qin-Yi was so talking with Lu Lingyi, while Lu Pingan stood there stiffly, not knowing what to say. "Sister Qin-Yi, do you like Big Pot?" Lu Lingyi thus inquired. Qin-Yi's face with a few smiles became slightly awkward. Then she looked at the motionless Lu Pingan and continued, "Lu Pingan, you still haven't answered my question. Why are the letters to the Heavenly Sword sect all written by Lu Mingyue and none by you?" "I don't know either, though Lu Pingan may be clumsy, he's not dumb. He roughly guessed that this Lu Mingyue is his sister Lu Wangshu. After all, back then for some unknown reasons, his sister knew of Qin-Yi's matters and even earnestly asked him about it. Unable to resist his sister's pleading, he talked about some of the things between them from back then. Heavenly Sword Sect? This Miss Qin is from the Heavenly Sword Sect? Lu Yun not far away was a bit surprised. You should know that coming from the Heavenly Sword Sect to Bai Lake Mountain is very far, at least a half-year journey. And this Miss Qin has come all this way to see his brother, just to ask about the letters? But Wangshu wrote to this Miss Qin, and brother didn't know? Lu Yun was also a bit bewildered, muttering in his heart, what on earth is all this about? SAR the Novel Fire, net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Don't know? Are you saying that all of Lu Mingyue's letters had none of your involvement? Upon hearing this, Qin-Yi raised an eyebrow straight, speaking directly. Though the letters sent many contained things that left her speechless. But the letters clearly knew about the things between her and Lu Pingan, thinking some normal contents being directed by Lu Pingan. Unexpectedly, none of the letters were actually written by him. About that, Lu Pingan was somewhat embarrassed, really not knowing how to respond. Lu Pingan, are you dense? Qin-Yi said, not in a good mood. Miss Qin, I'm sorry. Lu Pingan thought for a moment, responding with an apology. There's nothing to be sorry for, how you act is up to you. Qin-Yi spoke with an expressionless face. Finishing the sentence, she sighed again and spoke in a low voice. besides, even if there was a letter from you within, I wouldn't have seen it. Okay, I won't make it difficult for you, since it's nothing urgent, I'll be heading back. She looked at Lu Pingan once more and spoke. Though he still appeared the same as ever. But since he doesn't wish for entanglements with her, she naturally wouldn't disrupt or persistently inquire. Ah, Sister Qin Yi, are you leaving? Lu Lingyi nearby asked aloud. Brother, Miss Qin has come a long way, you and little he should host her, show her around our place, and have her stay a few days. Nearby, Lu Yun spoke quickly and transmitted to little he that this Miss Qin must be kept. Though he didn't understand why his brother was so hesitant. He could see that both liked each other, thus hoping they could be harmoniously together. Because of the family, Lu Yun pondered thoughtfully. He had a very good impression of his brother Lu Pingan. With high cultivation level, without the slightest arrogance nor pomp, he took good care of his brothers and sisters at home. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know it report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1351. Not only does it care for the Bai Lake Mountain, but it also treats the Lu family of Rui Prefecture equally. Over the decades, Lu Pingan has always shown concern towards the Lu family disciples sent to Bai Lake Mountain after their spiritual roots were detected in the secular world. From this, it can be seen that this elder brother of mine carries a heavy sense of responsibility. Over the years, except for annual visits to Rui Prefecture or family affairs, Lu Pingan has mostly been stationed at White Tiger Mountain, having no time to travel far. Although letters could be written, Bai Lake Mountain and the Heavenly Sword sect are far apart. In such circumstances, my brother fears delaying the other party, which is understandable. Lu Yun saw Lu Lingyi pulling Qin Yi to take her out for a stroll and didn't think much further, flying towards Baiyun Peak. He felt it necessary to inform his mother of this matter, and then let his mother inform his father. Even though father has never worried about family affairs, isn't it appropriate to be concerned about brother's lifelong affairs? Moreover, Sister Lu Wangshu seems to know about brother and this Miss Qin's matters. He highly suspects it was revealed from their father. Mount Sumeru Cave Heaven, Changsheng Hall. Lu Changsheng and Xiao Xie were practicing the sun-moon samsara technique, with a bright sun and luminous moon swirling above their heads, emitting radiant mystical light. At this moment, the two entered a mysterious state, their souls and divine sense gradually merging like water and milk. After a long time, the spirits, thoughts, and souls of the two seemed to merge into one, each capable of sensing every thought in the other's mind. Boom! Just then, a turbulent magic aura suddenly surged from Xiao Xie's Qi ocean core, breaking through from the foundation establishment's 7th layer to the 8th layer. The two slowly opened their eyes, and both saw a radiant sun and luminous moon between each other's brows. Congratulations to my Xie for the breakthrough. Lu Changsheng gently stroked the jade-like face of the fairy in front of him and said kindly. Not only did Xiao Xie break through to the 8th layer of foundation building, but the sun-moon samsara technique also reached small achievement. Now, the two can achieve soul fusion through the radiant sun and luminous moon. It's all thanks to you, Changsheng. Xiao Xie's face blushed, her beautiful eyes still shimmered with a faint spiritual desire, charming and enchanting. Xie, let's try now to see if we can resolve the supreme forgetful love technique. Lu Changsheng suggested aloud. He had once seen, via spiritual communion, a female immortal appearing without feelings like the great Tao in the depths of Xiao Xie's sea of consciousness. However, because the sun-moon samsara technique of the other party hadn't reached small achievement, it was impossible to integrate actively, preventing deeper contact. Now, with the other's sun-moon samsara technique having reached small achievement, he could try further. Okay. Xiao Xie also showed a glimmer of anticipation in her eyes. Immediately, the two simultaneously activated the sun-moon samsara technique, with the radiant sun and divine moon manifesting between their brows, releasing brilliant light that shone upon each other. Buzz buzz buzz, this power flowed between them, constantly vibrating, extraordinarily mystical. With Xiao Xie's initiative, this process was very smooth. However, as Xiao Xia activated the supreme forgetful love technique, an unapproachable indifference involuntarily emerged from her spiritual state. Moments later, Lu Changxing saw in the depths of Xiao Xia's soul, a hazy female immortal revealing the unfeeling great Tao and absolute impartiality of the heavenly Tao, starting to attempt further soul fusion using the yin-yang creation scripture, coming into contact with this female immortal. Much like the early years, the hazy figure shimmered with an intangible barrier, repelling him. But at that moment, an intent filled with gentle emotions emerged, weakening the female immortal's rejection to gradually merge with him. As they merged incessantly, Lu Changxing noticed that a look of pain appeared on Xiao Xia's extraordinarily beautiful face. He realized that it was a spiritual conflict arising from the supreme forgetful love technique. Sar the Novelier. N.E.T. website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Currently, Xiao Xia's soul and sea of consciousness primarily revolved around this female immortal. Should any issue arise, it could lead to soul disorder and fracturing of the sea of consciousness. Lu Changxing immediately signaled Xiao Xia to stop further fusion, slowly operating the yin-yang creation scripture, encompassing this female immortal, and perceiving the intent of the supreme forgetful love within. After a long time, Lu Changxing comprehended and realized that the female immortal before him was Xiao Xia. It could also be said that this was Xiao Xia's second personality. In fact, most of the time in daily life, Xiao Xia exists in this persona. Only when confronting Lu Wangshu or Yun Wanshang and the like would the present persona consciousness gradually awaken. And the other party's attempt to break through core formation lies in completely forgetting love, forgetting Lu Changxing, Lu Wangshu, Yun Wanshang, and even oneself. The heavenly Tao is absolutely impartial, the great Tao is selfless, the supreme is emotionless. Lu Changxing found it exceptionally tricky. Any interference impacting this female immortal would harm Xiao Xia. He attempted to use the yin-yang creation scripture, a force compatible with everything, to soothe this female immortal and calm her. Under the incredibly enigmatic yin-yang power, Xiao Xia's spiritual world gradually stabilized, with the pain on her face vanishing. Indeed, supreme forgetfulness, yet cultivators can never reach the stage of absolute impartiality and hence can be influenced. Lu Changxing breathed a sigh of relief in his heart. Acknowledging that Xiao Xia's condition hadn't yet reached the point of being completely uninfluenceable, he contemplated solving this predicament. He had previously considered forming a different path based on the supreme forgetful love technique. However, Xiao Xia had already reached the doorway of this path. To walk a different road was as difficult as ascending to heaven. This female immortal is precisely the practice of the supreme forgetful love technique by Xia, but it eludes her control. Once the supreme forgetful love technique operates, it predominates in this persona, but it's useless even if controlled. To further progress, this persona must become the primary one completely. Having emotions or being emotionless, it is the yin-yang. Whether it can form a balance, and sometimes needing emotions, sometimes not. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know and report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1352, Lu Changxing, with the theoretical foundation of his yin-yang creation scripture, kept pondering. After a long while, a thought emerged in his heart. Since he couldn't interfere with this personality, could Xiao Xia intervene on her own? Coincidentally, the two states represent emotion and non-emotion. Could they achieve yin-yang balance and forge a different path? Shiyu, Lu Changxing immediately expressed his idea. Sia the novel _fire. Et website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. He suggested that their souls be centered around Xiao Xia, allowing her to actively integrate with the female immortal, while he assisted from behind. As expected, Xiao Xia approached integrating with the female immortal, and the other party did not reject or resist her as it did with him. However, the two still could not achieve balance. Lu Changxing immediately operated the yin-yang creation scripture, embracing all, encompassing all, aiding Xiao Xia to achieve balance with her. At the same time, Lu Changsheng's Tai divine soul emitted a faint golden glow, revealing the essence of his yin-yang creation scripture, like the profound sound of the great Tao echoing in Xiao Xie's mind, forming mysterious and profound runes, suggesting she actively formed the yin-yang balance. Buzz. As the yin-yang creation scripture gradually merged into the spiritual domain, Xiao Xie's female immortal deep within her sea of consciousness seemed less indifferent than before. Thus, time slowly passed. The hazy female immortal, like the supreme forgetfulness, with eyes appearing to channel the yin-yang rotation. Her left eye resembled the 9 heavens' bright moon, supreme forgetfulness. Her right eye was like the rising sun, emotion as the Tao seed. The sun and moon rotated, yin-yang flowed, Xiao Xie's sea of consciousness seemed to slowly change. It's feasible. Lu Changsheng observed that Xiao Xie's soul and spiritual world were heading towards an emotional and non-emotional yin-yang balance. However, he couldn't be certain of the specifics and could only rely on Xiao Xie herself. Time ticked away. It's unclear how much time had passed. Buzz. In Xiao Xie's sea of consciousness, behind the female immortal's head, a yin-yang ring gradually formed. This yin-yang ring glowed brightly, seemingly supporting her soul and spiritual world. The yin-yang of heaven and earth encompasses all. Emotion and non-emotion are yin-yang. Supreme forgetfulness, emotion can exist within non-emotion. Cultivation is the great Tao. He is also the great Tao. At this moment, Xiao Xie defied the conflict of supreme forgetfulness intention, resolving the balance of cultivation technique. The two opened their eyes, exiting the state of soul fusion. Changsheng. Xiao Xie's beautiful eyes were moist, full of affection and joy. Xiu, how do you feel? Lu Changsheng's face showed some fatigue as he asked with concern. This process took a significant toll on him. If his cultivation level weren't far above Xiao Xie's and he didn't have the Tai divine soul, he couldn't have helped her maintain soul balance. These days were even more exhausting than when he saved Xu Qingyi. However, seeing the situation temporarily resolved, he felt a burst of joy, feeling the hardship was worthwhile. I feel great now, Xiao Xie spoke softly, indicating that not only had the situation been resolved, but she also gained tremendous benefits, perfectly controlling her soul state. The only issue was that the original supreme forgetful love technique was no longer suitable for her. She had to extend her current ideology based on the original cultivation technique, forging her own unique path. Otherwise, continuing cultivation would gradually revert to the original state. Don't worry, I'm here. Lu Changsheng held her, speaking softly. Developing a cultivation technique is indeed difficult. But with so many techniques to draw upon, and the help of Hong Lian, the nascent soul true lord, the cave mystique treasure mirror, he was confident they would find a path. Moreover, there's no need to completely develop the cultivation technique at once. For now, it's enough to develop a method for Xiao Xie to break through core formation, the rest can be slowly developed later. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1353. In Changsheng Hall, Lu Changsheng and Xiao Xie were designing further ideas on the supreme forgetful love technique. Thinking that this technique was also based on the theory of the yin-yang creation scripture, Lu Changsheng planned to call his wife Lu Miaoge over. Lu Miaoge's cultivation with the water of virtue technique incorporated many characteristics of the yin-yang creation scripture. Many of its theories were worth referencing. However, just as Lu Changsheng stepped out of Changsheng Hall, he noticed a message saying his wife Lu Miaoyan wanted him to inform her once he was out of seclusion. Immediately, Lu Changsheng went to the Lu family mansion to ask Lu Miaoyan what the matter was. It's about Pingan. Lu Miaoyan opened up, briefly explaining the situation between Lu Pingan and Qin Yi. This girl seems admirable, bold in love and hate. Lu Changsheng chuckled lightly upon hearing this. He remembered that when his son Lu Chuanjin mentioned it to him back then, it was also the girl who took the initiative. Yet, he felt somewhat surprised. He had asked his daughter Lu Wangshu to help Lu Pingan arrange a meeting, but his daughter kept saying there was no reply, so nothing further happened. Now it seemed, could the letter have been sent to the wrong person? Yuner, have you met this little Qin? Lu Changxing mused slightly. He thought that since the girl had already come forward, what was his son still hesitating about? Sir, the Novel Fire, NE*T website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. If his son didn't like her, then there was nothing more to be said. But his son clearly had feelings, yet was being cautious. I only met her once briefly when seeing little he and chatted a bit. She seems nice. But I'm not clear on the details of the situation between them, so it's hard to say much. Lu Miaoyun said as such. If it were about her son Lu Yun or other Lu family disciples, she might inquire more deeply. But since Qin Yi and Lu Pingan were both foundation establishment cultivators, she felt it was inappropriate to meddle too much. All right, I'll go take a look. Lu Changxing nodded in agreement. After speaking, he paused, and then said, Yuner, later you can release the news of my return. And you can spread the word that I was pursued by a nascent soul immortal in the Tianyuan secret realm because, Lu Changxing paused, revealing the explanation he had planned long ago. Lu Miaoyun was slightly taken aback by his words, then responded with a bright smile, all right, husband. At Baishui Lake, Lu Pingan was on a boat with Qin Yi and his sister Lu Lingyi. However, he was merely accompanying them, as his sister chatted non-stop with Qin Yi, and he only spoke when asked. Pingan, come to see me. Just then, a voice echoed in Lu Pingan's mind. He instantly recognized it as his father's voice. Miss Qin, I have something to attend to and need to leave for a while. Little he, you enjoy with your sister Qin. Lu Pingan paused and said to the two girls. Is something wrong? Qin Yi looked at Lu Pingan and inquired. It seemed to say she was willing to help if needed. It's nothing, just that I'm being called over. Lu Pingan smiled and said. All right. With that said, Qin Yi didn't ask further. Father, you're back. Lu Pingan arrived at Baiyun Peak, seeing the tall figure in a green robe, he called out. He had been staying at Bai Lake Mountain recently, partly because of Qin Yi. Another reason was that his aunt Lu Miaoyun informed him that Lu Changxing had returned and would be looking for him later. Lu Changxing turned around, smiling, Pingan, it's been hard on you at home these days. In his absence, it was thanks to Lu Pingan and Lu Wangshu holding fort. Otherwise, the family might have faced many threats and conspiracies. This is what I should do. Lu Pingan replied without any complacency, grinning broadly. What do you think of little Qin? Lu Changxing didn't linger on that topic and went straight to the point. Little Qin? Which little Qin? Lu Pingan hadn't yet caught on. Your first love little girlfriend, who was just boating with you, which other little Qin could it be? Lu Changxing said almost exasperatedly, I heard from your aunt that the girl has already come to see you, yet you're still indifferent. Dad, Lu Pingan wanted to say they were just friends, but Lu Changxing directly interrupted him, saying, you're not young anymore. Since there's someone suitable, why not settle it early? Moreover, you clearly have feelings for little Qin, so why hesitate and worry? As for your concerns, I understand them. You don't need to worry, as long as I'm here, you can do whatever you want without worries. Didn't you want to explore the world back then? Now is the same, you can go out whenever you want. Lu Changxing spoke, stepping forward and patting his son's broad shoulder. Having a sense of responsibility is good, but don't wrong yourself. I don't want you to regret it later on. Dad, Lu Pingan was taken aback, wanting to say they might have a budding affection but nothing more. However, Lu Changxing didn't give him a chance to speak, waving his hand directly. Go on, the family matters don't need your worry. With that, Lu Changxing sighed. When the time comes, introduce little Qin to your mother. Even though she hasn't mentioned it over the years, she's still hoping to see you settle down soon. Long ago, Lan Shu would often talk about Lu Pingan's lifelong affairs. But ever since Lu Pingan achieved foundation establishment and gained fame at White Tiger Mountain, Lan Shu had accepted her son's path as an immortal and foundation establishment ancestor, ceasing to mention these matters. Yet, as a traditional mother, she still wished to see her son establish a family soon. Lu Pingan pursed his lips, feeling a taste of bitterness within. Indeed, his mother no longer spoke to him about such matters now. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1354. But when he returned to visit his mother before, he once saw her sitting alone in the small courtyard, muttering to herself with a desolate expression. Go ahead, follow your heart. No matter the outcome, just don't let yourself regret it. Lu Changxing didn't say much. A dutiful son with a sense of responsibility is naturally a good thing. But he didn't want these to become shackles, binding his own son. Yes, father. Lu Pingan sighed and said no more, walking towards Bai Shui Lake, pondering how to begin. Wait. Lu Changxing stopped his son, took out a jug of wine from the storage ring, tossed it to him, and said, You can take a couple of sips to courage up. Also, this sword is now your personal sword. If you don't have any other gifts ready, you can give this sword as a token of affection to young Qin. Lu Changxing also took out a sparkling flying sword from the storage ring, erased the marks on it, and tossed it to his son. This was a flying sword he prepared in his early years to perform the Seven Luminaries' Great Freedom Sword Scripture, a second-rank top-level flying sword. But it had never been used, gathering dust in the storage ring. Now giving it to his future daughter-in-law didn't seem wasteful. Ah. Lu Pingan looked at the wine and sword in his hands. He was stunned, slightly bewildered. All right, go on. Lu Changxing waved his hand, indicating for him to proceed. Sir, the novel, F.I.R. Enter website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Yes. Lu Pingan gave a slight bitter smile, then took a deep breath and walked towards Bai Shui Lake. On the boat, Qin Yi, dressed in black with narrow eyes and red lips, saw Lu Pingan return and said, Finished? If you have something to do, there's no need to stay here. Lu Pingan took a deep breath but found the words hard to say. Then, taking a deep breath again, he took out the jug of wine his father had given him and drank heartily. Beside Qin Yi, Lu Lingyi sniffed the strong aroma of wine and immediately shouted, Big brother, I want some too. Lu Pingan, watch how you're drinking, don't lead little he astray. Qin Yi said in a clear voice at once. The boldness that Lu Pingan had fueled with wine was extinguished in an instant, and the words stuck in his throat again. Lu Pingan, if you have something to say, just say it straight, don't be so indirect like a woman. The woman in black saw Lu Pingan's hesitant expression and said irritably. Lu Changxing, watching this from afar, also shook his head and sighed. Thinking to himself that the son of this Lu ancestor being so naive would bring him ridicule. Miss Qin. Lu Pingan spoke. But then shook his head and quickly said, Qin Yi, I like you. What did you say? Say it louder. The woman in black raised an eyebrow, her red lips curving upward. Qin Yi. I like you. Lu Pingan's voice was robust, charged with boldness that seemed to surge to the sky, causing ripples on the calm lake. Oh, I see. Qin Yi nodded seriously. Ah. Lu Pingan was stunned, somewhat bewildered. He didn't expect Qin Yi to reply this way and was momentarily at a loss for what to say next. Glug glug. At this moment, Lu Lingyi in a red dress took a sip from her brother's wine jug, her cheeks immediately flushing, and said, Big brother, this doesn't have sister's sweetness. But just as she spoke, an invisible great hand of magical power reached over, picking her up with a cry of surprise. Seeing this, Qin Yi's expression immediately turned colder, intending to draw her sword. But in the next moment, she noticed a handsome youth appearing ahead without her realization. Daddy. Lu Lingyi exclaimed joyfully upon seeing the youth. Ah! Qin Yi was shocked upon hearing this, unexpectedly realizing it was Lu Pingan and Lu Ling's father, the lord of Bai Lake Mountain, Lu family ancestor. Wasn't it said that Lu family ancestor encountered an accident in the Tianyuan secret realm? How did he appear here in good condition? Moreover, as a sword cultivator with sharp senses, she hadn't detected the youth's arrival, which was surprising. I have something to discuss with little he, you all carry on. Lu Changxing slightly nodded and then took away his youngest daughter, who was ruining the mood. Otherwise, if it were just his son and this little girl, it would take a lot of effort to create an atmosphere only to have it disrupted by his daughter. Moreover, he understood that although his son could hardly utter a word, his personality was quite complementary to the girl's, so he was too lazy to interfere. Daddy, I missed you so much. Lu Lingyi pounced into her father's arms, looking adorable. Daddy missed my little he. Lu Changxing pinched his daughter's rosy little cheeks, his gaze soft and gentle. Daddy, Lu Lingyi immediately shared interesting and fun stories with Lu Changxing, even mentioning how brother Yun tricked her when sister Qin Yi came over, chattering non-stop. Lu Changxing listened to his daughter's words with a smile on his face. Greetings, Mountain Master. Father. As the two walked along the road, other Qinyun sect cultivators and some Lu family disciples, upon seeing Lu Changxing, all displayed faces of surprise, astonishment, and delight, then greeted him respectfully. After all, for the past 6 months, rumors had been circulating externally that Lu Changxing had perished in the Tianyuan secret realm. Normally, Lu Lingyi didn't pay attention to such matters, so if no one told her, she wouldn't know, but the majority of Qinyun sect cultivators were aware. If it weren't for Lu Pingan and Lu Wangshu visiting Golden Dragon Ridge to establish their might and intimidate all sides, this rumor might have had a significant impact on Qinyun sect. Now, seeing Lu Changxing return, everyone was naturally excited and invigorated. Lu Changxing smiled and nodded, concernedly asking his children about recent events. Now that Xiao Xia's supreme forgetful love technique problem was temporarily solved, he also planned to head to Qinyun sect. Therefore, there was no need to conceal his return. Moreover, if he didn't show himself, his son Lu Pingan wouldn't feel at ease going out. Once Lu Changxing disappeared, Qin Yi's tense posture slightly relaxed, and she looked at Lu Pingan, saying, I heard earlier that uncle was in the secret realm. Even though her personality was always carefree and straightforward, in such a situation, seeing Lu Pingan's father still made her somewhat restrained. After all, it was one thing during normal times. But just a moment ago, Lu Pingan had loudly confessed his feelings for her. Father should have returned a few days ago, but the news hasn't spread yet. Lu Pingan said in a low voice. Was it uncle who called you over just now? Qin Yi seemed to think of something, raised her eyebrows, and asked aloud. Lu Pingan nodded. I was wondering why you've changed your tune. Qin Yi pursed her lips, sat down, hugged her knees with both hands, and asked, what did uncle say to you? Lu Pingan felt a bit awkward, but he still revealed the truth. Qin Yi gazed at Bai Shui Lake, saying nothing. Seeing this, Lu Pingan quietly sat beside her, watching Bai Shui Lake with her. No one knew how long had passed when the girl dressed in black suddenly asked, Lu Pingan, what do you like about me? Lu Pingan contemplated for a moment and sincerely replied, I don't know either. When I first met you, I saw you as a sister, but after spending time together, I suddenly found you very cute. You smile so beautifully, yet always have an expressionless face, pursing your lips. You clearly don't understand a lot of things but insist on being stubborn. You're the one who's stubborn. Who can compare to you? I remember once you got hurt and insisted on using the prescription yourself. You ended up buying the wrong medicine but still argued stubbornly. You've been tricked by the same thing 3 times. Miss Qin, do you like me? Guess. Could it be a tiny bit? Lu Pingan raised his arm, leaving a small gap between his thumb and index finger. If I don't like you, would you just go marry someone else and start running the family business? The black-clad girl imitated his earlier gesture and words. My parents probably won't force me. What do you think yourself? The two sat on the small boat, speaking back and forth, their expressions and tones gradually becoming more natural, their bodies inching closer. Hee. Not far away, Lu Changxing, holding his daughter's hand, suddenly shook his head and chuckled lightly. Many things become much simpler as long as you take the first step. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1355. Seeing his son Lu Pingan and Qin Yi gradually getting on track, Lu Changxing didn't worry too much. After spending a few days with his wives, concubines, and children at home, he went to Qingyun's sect with Xiao Xie to pay respects to Kaiyan True Immortal. Meanwhile, a piece of news spread from Bai Lake Mountain. Lu family ancestor Lu Changxing has returned. Not only did he not perish in the Tianyuan's secret realm, but his cultivation level has advanced further, breaking through the late stage of foundation establishment. Once this news spread, it immediately shook the surrounding family forces. Families scrambled through various channels and means to Bai Lake Mountain to verify the authenticity of the news. After all, it was too shocking. In the Tianyuan secret realm, being hunted by a nascent soul immortal, not only did he survive, but he also broke through his cultivation realm? What kind of sorcery is this? Could it be he's a child of destiny? Many people didn't believe it and were skeptical. They thought this was Bai Lake Mountain creating false rumors to stabilize the clan and intimidate outsiders. However, not long after, another rumor emerged. It claimed that the reason ancestor Lu managed to leave the Tianyuan secret realm alive was because the nascent soul immortal chasing him wasn't really trying to kill him. This person was an old lover of ancestor Lu, who parted ways due to certain reasons. Now, upon seeing ancestor Lu in the Tianyuan secret realm, she wanted to take him back and rekindle old feelings. But ancestor Lu didn't want to rely on her, so he persuaded her and returned to the family. Damn, Bai Lake Mountain is too wild. They even dare to fabricate rumors about nascent soul immortals. Aren't they afraid that the nascent soul immortal will find trouble with their Lu family? When some family forces heard this news, they didn't believe it at first, thinking it was a rumor spread secretly by Bai Lake Mountain. Because such things are routine operations for many forces. But they've never dared to be so wild, to spread such fierce material. After all, this involves a nascent soul immortal. Perhaps it's a rumor spread by Jinlong Ridge Jin family or Xuanwu Ridge Sima family to provoke the nascent soul immortal in this way. Someone speculated like this. No way, even if the Jin family and Sima family had the courage of bears and leopards, they wouldn't dare spread rumors about a nascent soul immortal like this. That's right, if the nascent soul immortal found out, the two families might face the risk of annihilation. Some forces thought that even if the Jin family and Sima family were reckless, they wouldn't make such an unwise move. Originally, I didn't believe ancestor Lu had returned, but now that I've heard this absurd rumor, I find it somewhat believable. Ancestor Lu is truly a model in terms of Tao companions, and cannot be measured by common sense. Is Lu family's main mother going to have another nascent soul immortal? I remember 50 years ago, when Lu family of Qingzhou Mountain and Bai family of Hundred Birds Lake attacked Red Leaf Valley, a foundation establishment tribute from the Qin family suddenly attacked ancestor Qin, leading to the Qin family's destruction. And this woman was closely related to Lu Changxing. Could this nascent soul immortal be that foundation female cultivator from back then? Damn, what kind of peach blossom luck does Lu Changxing have, cultivating the dual cultivation technique with Lu Miaoge, being with array master Ling Zixiao, disciple of Qingyun's sect Zhao Qingqing, and also having a top-level alchemist who can refine foundation establishment elixirs. I'm so jealous. Why is there such a gap between people? Wailing. Many people discussed the matters regarding ancestor Lu. Concerning ancestor Lu and the nascent soul immortal, some believed it, some didn't, and some were skeptical. But regardless, this news made many family forces apprehensive. After all, what if ancestor Lu truly knows a nascent soul immortal? At this moment, Lu Changsheng and Xiao Xia arrived at Qingyun sect. Gazing at the towering Kaiyun peak ahead, Lu Changsheng's originally anxious heart gradually calmed down. Facing fears must be overcome regardless, as he's already here. Being hesitant would only bring ridicule. Moreover, what's there to be worried about in this matter? He had saved Chu Qingjia's life. In fact, Yun Wanshang should owe him gratitude and express thanks to him. Greetings, true immortal. Greetings, master. The two arrived at the top of Kaiyun Peak, and bowed towards the palace hall. Boom! A moment later, the palace door opened with a loud boom. An overwhelming spiritual pressure spread, causing the surrounding air to seem frozen. Soon after, an invisible great hand of magical power suddenly appeared, striking directly at Lu Changsheng. Master! Seeing this, Xiao Xia's face changed dramatically, and she shouted, wanting to shield Lu Changsheng. Of course, Lu Changsheng wouldn't let her do that. With his Tai divine soul, he immediately sensed the situation. Swiftly connecting to the 9 treasures Rui bone on his chest, he unleashed a burst of mana, punching at the great magical hand. However, in this hastily moment, his entire figure staggered, and his steps became unsteady. Xiao Xia quickly supported Lu Changsheng, her face anxiously looking into the palace. Unexpectedly, her master attacked Lu Changsheng right upon meeting. He really broke through to core formation. In the palace, Yun Wanshang watched this scene, her beautiful eyes deep like a tranquil pool, seemingly calm yet rippling with waves. This slap, though she carried some feelings of venting her grievances. The main reason was still to probe Lu Changsheng's cultivation strength. She wanted to see what cultivation strength he possessed. However, seeing Lu Changsheng appeared only at the 7th level of foundation establishment, she only used the initial stage of core formation strength. Even at the end, she eased off some of the force. Sar the Oval Fire. At website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. It seems he has some means, secret techniques, to gather and conceal his cultivation within the depths of his body. Yun Wanshang slightly frowned, roughly understanding the method Lu Changsheng used to hide his cultivation. This method was quite ingenious. As long as Lu Changsheng doesn't engage in battle, doesn't use his true strength, it's difficult for others to discern his cultivation realm. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1356. However, the shortcomings are also quite obvious. The cultivation strength is hidden too deeply. If suddenly ambushed, the reaction would be a step slower. Yun Wanshang gracefully walked out of the grand hall in a luxurious colorful dress, exuding an aura of nobility and elegance. Then she looked at Xiao Xia, who was usually aloof and solitary, but now filled with anxiety and concern, and spoke with a faint authority, "Xia, you should return first." As she spoke, there was a subtle, menacing spiritual pressure swirling around her. After discovering the affair between Lu Changsheng and Chu Qingyi, she found it hard to remain calm. Seeing the closeness between Lu Changsheng and Xiao Xia, especially Xiao Xia's expression of infatuated worry and her recent act of shielding Lu Changsheng, her anger only intensified. Both her valued disciples had been misled by this one person. Master, Xiao Xia could see that her master was seething with anger, worried she might act against Lu Changsheng again. She bit her red lips gently, her voice pleading. However, seeing her disciple like this, Yun Wanshang's anger only grew. It's okay, Xia. Lu Changsheng understood that Kaiyun True Immortal must have something to say to him, and gestured to her to go back first. He secretly reassured her that if she truly intended him harm, she would not have held back just now. Upon hearing this, Xiao Xia hesitated slightly before bowing her hands towards Yun Wanshang. Master, disciple takes her leave. Boom! Just as Xiao Xia walked down from the peak, she felt an overwhelming torrent of terrifying mana spiritual pressure surging, distorting the air at the summit slightly. She knew this was her master making a move against Lu Changsheng, and her heart filled with worry. Boom! Yun Wanshang's core formation late-stage mana suppression struck with a boom, catching Lu Changxing somewhat off guard. His whole body suddenly felt as if crushed by an ancient divine mountain, nearly bowing him down. But fortunately, his physique was astonishing, and the 9 treasures Rui bone at his chest released a wave of heat, gradually relieving him of this pressure, allowing him to slowly straighten his body, his expression calm as he met the gaze of the stunningly beautiful, regal Yun Wanshang. Core formation late stage. The cultivation level and strength of the Kaiyun true immortal before him were undoubtedly at the core formation late stage. Lu Changxing had seen nascent soul cultivators at the initial and middle stages take action. None had this kind of terrifying oppression. Moreover, he knew that Yun Wanshang was no ordinary nascent soul cultivator. She was a golden core true person. Lu Changxing, how dare you? Yun Wanshang's eyes were like water, filled with an indescribable coldness, her entire being as if a 9 heavens goddess overlooking all, commanding and majestic. Boom boom boom, as she spoke, the terrifying aura escalated in waves like a surging tempest, endlessly pressing towards Lu Changxing. She could be strong, he could be stronger, like a gentle breeze brushing the mountain ridge. She could be fierce, he could be fiercer, like the bright moon illuminating the great river. Lu Changxing stood tall and straight in his green robe, the runes of the 9 treasures Rui bone interweaving on his chest, causing his body to emit a brilliant divine light, speaking in a deep voice. I don't understand what the true immortal means by this. If it's about the matter with Fairy Qingyi, I believe I am not in the wrong. If not for the true immortal and Sia's sake, I wouldn't have intervened back then. After all, given the circumstances at the time, acting could have entailed endless peril for me. Lu Changxing maintained a calm expression, his demeanor composed. Although he had other considerations when he saved the person back then, the main reason was for Yun Wanshang and Xiao Xia's sake. Yet such matters still led the other party to blame him, which he could not accept. Moreover, it's clear that the opposing party already knew about his cultivation strength, and he would no longer pretend to be weak and helpless, looking pitiful as he did in the past. He refused to believe that a woman like Yun Wanshang would be attracted to someone cowardly and timid. When Yun Wanshang heard Lu Changxing's words, and saw his composed demeanor under her suppression, she was surprised, suddenly feeling as though he was somewhat unfamiliar. So different from the glib, playful figure in her impression. Yet Lu Changxing's righteous words left her with no rebuttal. As Lu Changxing stated, he took great risks to save Chu Qingyi at the time. Moreover, he not only saved Chu Qingyi but also aided her in breaking and then advancing, forming a second-grade golden core. If one were to calculate, it's evident Chu Qingyi owed him a great debt of kindness. For a while, Yun Wanshang did not know what to say. As the Qingyun Sect's enforcement hall master, she could be domineering, yet she was not unreasonable. Naturally, I know that not only Chu Qingyi but even I still owe Lu Changxing a favor. But knowing is one thing, accepting is another, and such matters are still difficult for her to accept. As the master of a peak in the Qingyun sect and the enforcement hall master, having one disciple develop feelings with Lu Changxing was bad enough, but now both disciples have such entanglements. Especially since I myself, Lu Changxing noticed Yun Wanshang's silence and the disappearance of the pressure of spiritual power over him, so he softened his tone and cupped his hands, saying, "True man, I wonder where Fairy Qingyi is?" The situation was urgent at the time, and I, Lu, had no choice but to act as I did. If true man blames me, I am willing to take responsibility and marry Fairy Qingyi. Although Chu Qingyi is likely still indecisive. Yet, through that period of interaction, it was evident that Fairy Qingyi's personality is rather traditional, and she is likely very obedient to her master, Kaiyun True Immortal. If this matter receives Kaiyun True Immortal's approval, it is likely to be settled. As for whether this would anger Kaiyun True Immortal, things have reached this point, so instead of hesitating, it would be better to go straight ahead, simply and directly. Yun Wanshang? Just moments ago, she thought this person seemed a bit different from her impression. But upon hearing this, it became clear that Lu Changxing remained the same Lu Changxing, utterly shameless. What does he mean by taking responsibility if I blame him by marrying Qingyi? Is it a grievance for you to say that? Qingyi is currently in closed-door cultivation and doesn't want to see you. Yun Wanshang's voice was icy, and she spoke directly. After speaking, she paused and added, "The matters between you and Qingyi, even though I am Qingji's master, I will not interfere." Though she was troubled when thinking about the situation between Lu Changsheng and Chu Qingyi. But during these days, she had thought a lot. If Chu Qingyi truly has feelings for Lu Changsheng, there is nothing more she can say. Just letting them resolve it on their own saves her the trouble of worrying. After all, the disciple has reached core formation. In matters of emotions, as a master, she has nothing more to say. The only thing she could do now was to advise her disciple Chu Qingyi to avoid meeting or contacting Lu Changsheng as much as possible, to see if they could snuff out the budding feelings. Search *the Novel Fire, net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Thank you, true man. Lu Changsheng sighed with relief and slightly bowed with cupped hands. As long as the other side didn't interfere in his and Chu Qingji's matters, everything would be easily resolved. Otherwise, if she mentioned his relationship with Xiao Xie to Chu Qingyi and asked how could a senior sister and junior sister marry the same person, Chu Qingyi might just sever her feelings decisively. "I wonder for what matter you, true man, summoned me here?" Lu Changsheng cupped his hands and asked with a polite face. Yun Wanshang was speechless. She had directed Xiao Xie to call Lu Changsheng over partly to understand the situation and explain things. The other motive was her inner anger, intending to give Lu Changsheng a double-edged reminder. However, seeing Lu Changsheng now and hearing his words, she just felt weary and uninterested. "I will not interfere too much in your affairs with Xie and Qingyi, but if you keep affecting their cultivation, don't blame me for showing no mercy. Regarding hiding your cultivation level, I will cover for you to some extent, but you should also be cautious as the 4 great immortal sects all have diviners skilled in prediction and calculation." Yun Wanshang spoke with such clarity. Currently, Lu Changsheng's situation hasn't caught the attention of too many people. But all top-level forces have diviners in place. With just a little prediction and calculation, much information can be uncovered, which even she could not conceal. "Thank you, true man." Lu Changsheng cupped his hands and bowed. He had previously prepared himself to reveal his cultivation level. Yet, if possible, he would rather not expose it prematurely. He thought of revealing his cultivation at the middle or late stage of core formation. That way, even if any danger or accident occurs, it would be easier to handle. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1357, When did you break through to core formation? Yun Wanshang looked at Lu Changsheng and asked. Just now, under her pressure, Lu Changsheng's performance was entirely unlike a newly advanced core formation cultivator. If she didn't know about his cultivation progress beforehand, she would suspect he had already broken through to the core formation middle stage. But she instantly realized that Lu Changsheng had condensed not an ordinary golden core. It was a first-grade, immortal golden core. Precisely because of this, he had such strength to concede the core formation opportunity and grant it to Chu Qingyi. At this moment, Yun Wanshang's heart was stirred by waves of shock. After all, among the 4 great immortal sects in Jiang country, those who can condense a superior grade golden core are rare. As for the immortal golden core, over the past 100 years, besides herself, Xianjian True Monarch, an absolute sword true monarch who might have condensed one, she hadn't heard of anyone else expressing having condensed an immortal golden core. Yet now, Lu Changsheng, a loose cultivator and clan cultivator, had condensed a first-grade immortal golden core, which was astonishing beyond measure. If this achievement were to spread, it might directly shake Jiang country, even affecting neighboring countries like Yu country and Jin kingdom. 4 years ago, I stumbled upon an opportunity and luckily broke through to core formation. Lu Changsheng said calmly. 4 years ago, Yun Wanshang recalled about 4 or 5 years ago when she was nurturing her golden core. Suddenly, a surge of inexplicable fascination arose from her Tongyu Phoenix marrow body and golden core. Now it seems that this fascination came from Lu Changsheng. Why did his breakthrough to core formation cause such a sense of connection for her? After pondering for a moment, Yun Wanshang didn't dwell on it, waved her hand at Lu Changxing and said, "All right, you may leave. True Immortal, I also have one matter." At this moment, Lu Changxing looked at Yun Wanshang, draped in colorful garments, with a stunningly beautiful and peerless appearance, and spoke solemnly. "What is it?" Yun Wanshang's eyes were like water, her presence like a rainbow. "Back then, True Immortal said that if I could break through to Foundation establishment one day, she would give me an opportunity." Lu Changxing took out the jade pendant she had given him years ago and spoke up, "Now that I have broken through to core formation, I wonder if this promise can be honored." In fact, this question had been on his mind for years, but he didn't dare to ask. Now, having broken through to core formation, he had the confidence to do so. Mainly because his current relationship with Yun Wanshang and her two disciples was exceedingly complex. If he didn't take initiative now, there wouldn't be another chance. Even though he knew this request would only anger Yun Wanshang. But whereas facing Yun Wanshang, he had no means of being subtle, he could only be direct. "Lu Changxing, how dare you?" As expected, Yun Wanshang's eyes gleamed with indescribable coldness upon hearing this. This person had just harmed her two disciples and now even dared to make a move on her. Did he really think she was easy to bully? Sar the Novel Fire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Lu Changxing faced the terrifying aura like stormy waves, his robes and hair dancing chaotically, his chest gleaming with the 9 treasures Rui bone, yet his stance remained tall and unwavering. Then he gazed deeply at Yun Wanshang with eyes both bright and profound, and said word by word, "True Immortal, I am quite greedy. One day, I will ascend to the peak of Qingyun and embrace Kaiyun in my arms." However, as soon as his words fell, Yun Wanshang raised her fair arm, unleashing a palm strike with overwhelming mana, stirring the winds and clouds of heaven and earth. Boom! Even at this moment, Lu Changsheng's qi and blood surged turbulently, his body flying backward. If it wasn't for Yun Wanshang's action, he might have forgotten that this Kaiyun True Immortal was the enforcement hall master of Qingyun sect, possessing a core formation late-stage cultivation level, standing at the pinnacle of Jiang country's cultivation realm. Nonetheless, Lu Changxing did not retreat, stabilized his form, and gently wiped the fresh blood from his mouth, continuing to smile. "Lu, always keep my word." Between his brows, there was both a youthful brilliance of a peerless genius, confident and self-assured, and an air of wild arrogance from one accustomed to being in a high position. Yun Wanshang looked at the handsome face and tall, dignified posture of Lu Changxing, filled with the aura of soul supremacy, silent with a complex expression. If it wasn't for the matters involving disciples Xiao Xie and Chu Qingyi, Lu Changxing in front of her was indeed a suitable match and qualified to be her Tao companion. However, there was no if. After a moment of silence, she flicked her sleeve, sending Lu Changxing down from the peak with mighty mana, herself also dramatically returning to Kaiyun Hall. She knew that unless she killed Lu Changxing today, he would not give up easily. And Lu Changxing dared to confront her like this because he was sure she wouldn't really harm him. Although Yun Wanshang felt ashamed and angry, she also became somewhat distracted. The once aggrieved little qi refinement cultivator had, unknowingly, dared to confront her, speaking of eventually ascending to Qingyun Peak and holding Kaiyun in his embrace. "Changxing, are you alright?" Mid-mountain, Xiao Xie saw Lu Changxing fall and immediately went forward with concern. Although the peak was shrouded by formation and concealed, she still sensed the formidable suppression of mana. She knew it was her master troubling Lu Changxing. Fine." Lu Changxing grasped Xiao Xie's palm and said with a smile. Even though Kaiyun True Immortal struck a palm on him, the other's silence and final action made him feel good. Knowing the path he marked down, the other had tacitly consented. Next, he's just waiting for the day he ascends to Qingyun. Ascend to Qingyun. At this time, this Kaiyun True Immortal must have already broken through to nascent soul, right? Lu Changxing pondered silently. Others might not be aware, but he knew that Yun Wanshang used his yin-yang energies to nurture her golden core, likely having already advanced to a first-grade golden core. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1358. Under such circumstances, as long as no unforeseen situations occur, there is a great chance of breaking through to nascent soul. It's just that some of my words upset the true man, Shiyu. You don't need to worry. Lu Changxing smiled and said, indicating that he had mentioned something about Master Qingyi, which displeased the true man. As for things like treading the blue clouds and embracing the colorful clouds, Lu Changxing planned to talk to Xiao Xia about it later when there was an opportunity. Otherwise, he really didn't know how to bring it up. Changxing, in the future, try not to mention anything about senior sister in front of Master. If there are things you really want to tell senior sister, I can pass on the message for you. Xiao Xia pursed her lips and said softly. After all these years of interaction, she naturally understood Lu Changxing's personality. He appeared to be non-competitive and easygoing, but deep down, he had a very strong sense of possessiveness and male chauvinism. Now, having developed such ties with senior sister, how could he easily give up? Although she felt a bit emotional about this matter, she was still willing to help, considering how easily Lu Changxing annoyed their master. Let's just let things take their natural course. Lu Changxing shook his head and said. He already felt guilty toward Xiao Xia about this matter, so how could he let her help him pursue Chu Qingyi? He immediately changed the topic, asking Xiao Xia about her future plans to exchange for the coagulation crystal elixir. Like the Foundation Establishment elixir, as long as a disciple of the Qingyun sect meets the requirements, they can use contribution value to exchange for it. But the coagulation crystal elixir is only obtainable through competition and not exchange, accessible only to true disciples. Indeed, only through competition, not exchange. So even though Xiao Xia was a disciple of Kaiyun True Immortal, she still had to accumulate her own contributions, complete sect trials, and achieve certain accomplishments to be eligible for the coagulation crystal elixir. In the Tianyuan secret realm previously, I already contributed sufficiently, now I'm just waiting for the next batch of coagulation crystal elixirs to compete for them. Xiao Xia said softly. The coagulation crystal elixir is extremely rare, and even in the Qingyun sect, the slots are limited and require competition among many. However, her master and senior sister are both nascent soul immortals with a significant voice in the matter. As long as her performance is outstanding, she's very likely to obtain the coagulation crystal elixir. Alright, let me know if you need any help when the time comes. Lu Changxing said with a smile. In these sect examinations, the elders of the sect usually cannot intervene to help. But if it's tasks like hunting demon kings or slaying heretic cultivators, he can definitely step in to assist. Moreover, such things are not forbidden by the immortal sects. Because connections are also considered a part of one's strength in the cultivation world. Lu Changxing did not stay long in the Qingyun sect. After chatting with Xiao Xia for a while, he went to see his son Lu Yunlu. After praising and encouraging him, he gave him 10,000 spirit stones and a third-rank artifact refining heritage. As for Lu Xingyue, she returned to Bai Lake Mountain some time ago and is not currently in Qingyun sect. Afterward, Lu Changxing went to the Lingyao Peak to visit Zhao Qingqing. Seeing that she was fine, he took her to Bai Lake Mountain to stay for a while. What? Lu Changxing has broken through to Foundation Establishment late stage. Not only did he break through to Foundation Establishment late stage, but he also has a nascent soul immortal lover. Previously, it was hard to believe Lu Changxing managed to marry an alchemist who could produce Foundation Establishment elixirs, and now he has found a nascent soul immortal. It's unbelievable. Now that Lu Changxing has broken through to Foundation Establishment late stage, with his skill in talisman formation, even a false core immortal might not be his match. Moreover, he cultivates the dual cultivation technique with Lu Miaoge. If the two join forces, they'd probably be invincible under core formation. At the same time, the news of Lu Changxing's return and breakthrough to Foundation Establishment late stage was spreading across the Qingyun region from the Bai Lake Mountain. Not only the Golden Dragon Ridge, Sima family, and Lingxi Xia family were dumbfounded. Even the beast-taming Su family was shocked upon hearing this news. Not to mention the matter of the nascent soul Immortal. Just the fact that Lu Changxing returned alive from the Tianyuan's secret realm was astounding. Moreover, Lu Changxing has broken through to Foundation Establishment late stage. One must know that going from Foundation Establishment middle stage to Foundation Establishment late stage is a significant barrier. Lu Changxing, at only 81 years old, has crossed this barrier, indicating he has a promising future to break through to core formation. Especially since Lu Changxing is a third-rank talisman master, proficient in talisman formation, and practicing dual cultivation technique with Lu Miaoge, such an individual could already be considered as a false core immortal. CTH Nefire. Et website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Could it be that Lu Changxing is really going to break through to core formation? With his status as a third-rank talisman master, and his family having a top-level alchemist who produces Foundation Establishment elixirs, he will surely be able to acquire a third-rank demon core in the future. So even if he cannot break through to core formation, he has a great chance of achieving false core. Lu Changxing, Lu Pingan, Lu Wangshu. I wonder about Lu Miaoge's current cultivation level. I've heard they practice the dual cultivation technique, complementing each other's cultivation realms and benefiting breakthroughs. If Lu Miaoge also breaks through to Foundation Establishment late stage, only a core formation immortal could rival the couple. In the early years, many people believed that Lu Changxing with his 9th grade spiritual root breaking through the Foundation Establishment was a blessing from the heavens. But with the rise of the Bai Lake Mountain Lu family, no one dared to underestimate Lu Changxing anymore. All have realized that Lu Changxing is definitely not just a 9th grade spiritual root. It's highly probable that he possesses a certain type of spiritual body, or perhaps a mutant spiritual root. Otherwise, even with a superior grade spiritual root, there wouldn't be such cultivation speed. At this moment, all family forces added another layer of dread towards the Bai Lake Mountain Lu family. Misty Rain Market. In the Market Master's cave mansion, 2 glistening and exquisite white jade bodies entwined together, for beautiful legs tightly interwoven, jade feet bent like bows, and waist swaying with sweat streaming down. Sister, Feyre, huff huff, you, the 2 alluring and charming women were caught in a passionate embrace, inseparable. One voice was coy and alluring, with a touch of delight. The other, slightly heroic voice had a bit of hoarseness, suppressed. After a long time, the 2 took a break, bathing together and enjoying the prepared fruits and food. After enjoying themselves, upon leaving the cave mansion, they came to a hall where Yan Lan checked on recent events in the cultivation world. As the market masters, they paid close attention to various situations in the cultivation world. Lu, ancestor of Bai Lake Mountain, has returned and even broke through to the Foundation Establishment late stage. At this moment, Yan Lan saw a piece of news, her heart skipped a beat, and her expression was surprised. Beside her, Yu Fei glanced with some astonishment, then smiled and marveled. This Lu ancestor managed to rise to such heights in just a few decades, truly extraordinary. Back then, she chose to marry Lu Changxing after weighing many aspects, not feeling aggrieved at all. Now, with Lu Changxing returning from the Tianyuan's secret realm, she even sees it as a good thing. Although there was some, but she didn't reject such matters. After all, as a mature leftover woman, waiting so long to find a perfect lord like Lu ancestor was quite fortunate. Especially in the past half year, the strength foundation of Bai Lake Mountain had surprised all the forces. Feyre, it's all because of my incompetence. Yan Lan sighed and said with some self-blame. If she could break through to the Foundation Establishment late stage, even the Sima family wouldn't dare to oppress them easily. Moreover, she knew her sister wanted to procure a second-rank high-grade breakthrough elixir for her. Sister, rest assured, Lu ancestor returning alive is also a good thing for our market. Yu Fei smiled and comforted her sister. During the conversation, she pinned her against the wall, a slender and long beautiful leg sliding between her sister's lush and powerful legs. Feyre, back to the cave mansion, Yan Lan quickly spoke. Although usually, as the market master, she was very dignified. But when faced with her sister's fiery passion, she showed another side. By Lake Mountain. Lu Changxing toiled away at home for half a month, appearing occasionally, and his wife Lu Miaoyun also reminded him to make a trip to the Misty Rain Market. After all, the Misty Rain Market had initially submitted to the By Lake Mountain Lu family on the condition that Lu Changxing take the second market master as his concubine. Back then, the matter was delayed due to the Tianyuan secret realm. Now that had been back for so long, it was time to go. All right. Lu Changxing silently left By Lake Mountain and headed towards Misty Rain Market. The lord of the market was a foundation female cultivator who had recommended herself to him, so Lu Changxing planned to treat her well and build up his reputation and goodwill. This way, in the future, other loose cultivator forces might be more willing to consider seeking allegiance from By Lake Mountain. Phew. Lu Changxing took a deep breath and exhaled. For the family, he had sacrificed and given so much. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1359, Misty Rain Market. Lu Changxing looked at the marketplace in front of him, and instead of sending a direct message to Yufei, he paid 2 spirit stones to obtain an identity tag and entered. After a brief tour of the marketplace, he gained a general understanding of the situation here. It was an ordinary medium-small marketplace, mainly gathered by loose cultivators. The traffic was similar to that of the Red Leaf Valley Market in the old days. However, for these 2 women to rise from mere loose cultivators to this level, they do have some skills. Lu Changxing chuckled softly and took a jade talisman from his storage ring and crushed it. A moment later, 2 figures came flying towards the center of the marketplace riding on a scape light. One was around 30 years old, tall, alluringly slender, and dressed in a smoky blue gown. Although she was quite beautiful, with fair skin, slender willow-like eyebrows, a straight nose bridge, and a heroic air between her brows, it left her lacking in feminine charm. The other was entirely different. With a face of about 25 or 26 years, slightly petite in build, dressed in a light blue sheer dress, with a silk belt tight around her slim waist, long legs encased in black stockings, and wearing black boots. Her glossy black hair was styled into a cloud bun with a pale blue jade hairpin, and her ears adorned with sparkling gem earrings, her charming face with a slight smile. Greetings, Great Market Master. Greetings, Second Market Master. The loose cultivators and law enforcement cultivators of the marketplace, upon seeing who arrived, immediately had expressions of surprise, admiration, and adoration as they respectfully saluted, not knowing why both market masters appeared simultaneously. Which member of the Lu family are you, Daoist? Yan Lan and Yufei nodded slightly in acknowledgement, then looked at the plain-looking young man before them and asked. Lu Changxing chuckled softly, a glow swept over him, and he removed his disguise and camouflage. Suddenly, his ordinary looks transformed into something exquisite and handsome. The simple yet elegant green robe did not lack nobility, accentuating his tall and graceful figure like noble jade, transcendent and ethereal, handsome like a celestial being. Not to mention females, even males could not help but pause for a moment to take a closer look at him. By Lake Mountain, Lu Changxing. Lu Changxing, with a face like fine jade and eyes deep and bright like the stars, spoke in a warm voice. Greetings, Lu ancestor. What, he's By Lake Mountain's Lu family ancestor, Lu Changxing. Keep your voice down, the name of Lu ancestor is not for us to call casually. Sar the Nelfer. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Such a handsome and ethereal man exists in this world. Whether male or female, all the cultivators present turned their gaze towards Lu Changxing. For the female cultivators, at this moment, their beautiful eyes were dazed, as if their souls were captivated by the handsome and ethereal young man before them. Even the 2 market masters of Misty Rain Market were briefly taken aback upon seeing Lu Changxing. Lu Changxing's aura was simply too transcendent, making it impossible not to feel a sense of admiration and longing. No wonder Fei is willing to become a concubine to this Lu ancestor. Yan Lan realized in her heart. Although she had seen the looks of this Lu ancestor in her early years, the painting lacked the slightest bit of his charisma and charm. His long eyebrows were like ink paintings, his eyes deep, dazzling like stars, and seemed to possess a certain magic power. Lu ancestor's esteemed presence, forgive me for not receiving you from afar, please excuse it, please. Yu Fei's beautiful eyes glistened with crystalline light as she raised her hand with a smile to gesture politely. Market Master Yu is too formal. Lu Changxing nodded with a smile and gracefully accompanied the two women towards Misty Rain Peak. The two women, though not considered absolute beauties, had looks, appearance, and temperament that were quite pleasing and able to catch the eye of Lu ancestor. I heard that the marketplace is affiliated with the Bai Lake Mountain Lu family, and now it seems true. Not only that, I heard the condition from Lu family was for the second market master to marry Lu ancestor as a concubine. I heard our second market master propose this request herself. That's impossible, don't insult my goddess. How could the market master do such a thing? It must be for the sake of the marketplace, coerced by this Lu family ancestor. Seeing Lu Changxing leaving with the two market masters, the cultivators of the marketplace immediately began to gossip. Oh, my second market master, I don't know if he'll ever see the market master again. This Lu ancestor already has so many wives and concubines, yet he still takes more, how do we even stand a chance? Brother, don't say that, even without Lu ancestor, the market master wouldn't notice us. Many cultivators were indignant and unwilling. In Lu Changsheng's eyes, Yan Lan and Yu Fei could only be considered ordinary. But in the eyes of these marketplace cultivators, they were revered as goddesses, lofty and untouchable. Now, their goddess was to marry another, naturally leaving them sorrowful and heartbroken. I wonder if Lu ancestor will take another concubine on this visit, do I have a chance to catch his eye? I've heard Lu ancestor takes concubines less often now, an ordinary female cultivator like me is unlikely to catch his eye. Ah, it's unfortunate to be born 50 years too late. Otherwise I might have caught Lu ancestor's favor. Indeed, I heard many women of average appearance married Lu ancestor as concubines in the past. Not only male cultivators but many female cultivators watching Lu Changsheng's departing figure still had dazed eyes, thinking of spending more time around the marketplace, hoping to be favored by Lu ancestor. Not to speak of being a concubine, even serving as a maid, they were willing. Lu Changxing accompanied Yan Lan and Yu Fei to the Misty Rain Pavilion. The ambience was elegant, filled with poetic charm. As soon as the three took their seats, maids served platter after platter of spirit fruit delicacies and gourmet dishes. If the hospitality is lacking, please forgive us, Lu ancestor. The second market master, in her light blue sheer dress, was very enthusiastic towards Lu Changxing, pouring him wine, her voice soft and gentle. Beside her, Yan Lan watched as her sister showed such joy and enthusiasm in front of this Lu ancestor, without the slightest reservation, feeling a pang of sourness in her heart. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1360. She knew her sister hadn't married yet because she was hoping to find a perfect husband. Considering Yu Fei's cultivation level, appearance, and conditions, many foundation establishment ancestors would certainly be willing to become Dao companions with her. However, either Yu Fei didn't like their family or appearance, or they couldn't offer good conditions, so it's dragged on until now. But now, this Lu ancestor hasn't said anything yet, and her sister is already so proactive and enthusiastic. It's simply, but she could somewhat understand. Her sister had always been focused on appearance, having quite high standards. And this Lu ancestor, whether in appearance, cultivation level, or status, was a top choice. Even she, looking at his handsome visage, felt some stirrings in her heart that had always remained dormant towards men. In the hall, the three were having a delightful conversation. The topics ranged from the marketplace situation to the Sima family, the cultivation world dynamics, the Lu Family Commerce Association, personal experiences, and more. At this moment, Lu Changxing also presented the gift he had prepared. It was the high-grade breakthrough elixir he had acquired years earlier from Qiyun True Immortal. He had heard from Lu Miaoyun that this great market master had been stuck at the foundation establishment middle stage for years and was always seeking to purchase the high-grade breakthrough elixir to advance to the foundation establishment late stage. So Lu Changxing thought of this elixir. Although the elixir was precious, he still had 2 pills. Besides, strengthening Misty Rain market was beneficial to his family. When news spread of Yan Lan breaking into the foundation establishment late stage, other forces would likely suspect the breakthrough elixir came from his family. Thank you, Lu Lang. At this moment, the Misty Rain Pavilion master gazed at Lu Changxing with eyes full of tender love and affection, speaking softly. If her sister weren't here, she would almost collapse into Lu Changxing's embrace. Meanwhile, Yan Lan, who sat by the side, gradually felt herself unable to fit into the conversation, an undercurrent of jealousy surging in her heart. Lu Lang, I can't handle wine well, may I ask Lu Lang to escort me back to rest? The 3 had drunk quite a bit. Even foundation establishment cultivators would feel a little intoxicated from the second-rank spiritual wine. And Yufei hadn't used her mana to refine the wine, causing her pale jade-like cheeks to flush lightly. All right. Lu Changxing chuckled softly, stepped forward to support her delicate body, catching a whiff of a rich fragrance. Even her full bosom lightly brushed against his arm. Sar the Novel Fire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. People often say women warm up slowly, but for Lu Ancestor, it wasn't so. The 2 walked out of the hall and headed toward a cave mansion. Yan Lan watched the scene, seeing them off, feeling not just a pang of jealousy but also a bittersweet sense of loss. Seeing her sister, who had shared mutual affection with her, about to be taken away by someone, as well as feeling like an older unmarried woman seeing a best friend find a perfect partner, a mix of emotions. When Lu Changxing and Yufei arrived at the cave mansion, this usually dignified and pure second market master was practically leaning entirely on Lu Changxing, her brows soft and alluring. Lu Lang, am I beautiful? Yufei's cheeks were flushed, wearing a light blue gauze dress, her black hair in disarray. Her delicate body, though not as tall and graceful as her sister Yan Lan, was also gracefully curved. Lu Changxing said nothing, responding to her with action. Since she was so proactive, Lu Ancestor naturally disliked dawdling. Moments later, the second market master's gauze dress was in disarray, her cheeks bright red, seemingly resisting, trying to push Lu Changxing away. Understanding the final modesty of a woman, Lu Changxing skillfully half-removed her skirt, tearing the black stockings with a rip, and then lovingly embraced her waist and hips. Yan Lan returned to her own cave mansion, looking at the once warm and comfortable place, feeling inexplicably complex, as though a pent-up grievance was hard to dismiss. Remembering how she often confided in her sister about things. And her sister would always help her dispel her worries. But now, she raised the teacup and drank it all down. The usually delicate and naturally calming spiritual tea seemed a bit bitter at this moment. Alas! She froze for a long while, suddenly letting out a long sigh. Thinking she had long accepted that her sister would eventually marry. But now that the day had come, her heart was still heavy with reluctance. After walking out of the cave mansion, she gazed at the vast blue sky without a cloud, then unexpectedly arrived outside her sister's cave mansion as if driven by a strange impulse. Though both their cave mansions were in Misty Rain Pavilion, there were prohibitions set up. Yet for some reason, her sister hadn't activated the prohibition after entering with Lu Ancestor, so from within the cave mansion, faint sobbing sounds mixed with a hint of pleasure wafted out. Yan Lan's brows furrowed like fine willow, her cheeks slightly heated, not expecting them to get intimate so quickly. This Lu Ancestor was truly impatient. But recalling her sister's forwardness earlier, she felt it was possibly her sister's initiative, once again bringing a wave of jealousy. Letting out a sigh, she turned away dejectedly. But after a few steps, she suddenly halted, driven by curiosity about her sister's current condition. though she understood by he blooming, aware of intimate matters between men and women. She had never seen such acts nor her sister's state. With this thought, she bit her lip, a magic artifact appearing in her hand. Then slowly sent a thread of divine sense into the cave mansion. The next moment, she saw the scene within the cave mansion. Her sister's hair was in disarray, her dress half open, revealing large areas of snowy skin, her alabaster arms supporting on the bed. Even having anticipated it, seeing this scene struck her heart heavily, reaching the peak of jealousy. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know it report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1361. Lu Changxing was holding Yu Fang's waist, when he suddenly sensed a faint divine sense power. Even though this divine sense was elusive, making it hard to perceive. But having awakened that Tai divine soul, his divine sense had already reached the core formation peak level. Such subtle instances naturally couldn't escape his senses. Yanlan? Lu Changxing felt a bit odd in his heart. Unexpectedly, it was this great market master outside peeking. Could it be that the two market masters of Misty Rain Market had some peculiar hobby? However, in the next moment, he noticed that the Yen market master's breathing was somewhat disorderly, and her face was full of bitterness, sorrow, embarrassment, and a bit of desire. Isn't this a bit like being cucked? As a pure love war god, Lu Changxing knew a bit about being cuckolded. Back when he was taking concubines, many young people would see their goddess marrying him as a concubine and then drink with a face full of bitterness. The look on Yan Lan's face was exactly like that, even more so. But the problem is, aren't these two sisters? Lu Changxing vaguely guessed something in his heart. He had previously reviewed Misty Rain Market's information. He knew Yan Lan and Yu Fei, although not biological sisters, were closer than many blood sisters. Since founding Misty Rain Market, for so many years, there had never been any dispute over interests. Previously, he merely marveled at their deep sisterly bond. Now he couldn't help but marvel once again at their deep sisterly bond. Yu Fei closed her beautiful eyes, her eyelashes lightly trembling, her cheeks and sideburns full of flowing fragrant sweat. Suddenly noticing that the Lu ancestor in front of her had some movement, she spoke softly, "Lu Lang, what's wrong?" "It's nothing, just that your sister seems to be outside." Lu Changxing had always respected women, naturally unwilling to deceive the other person on their first meeting. He spoke gently. Yu Fei's delicate body suddenly trembled, her beautiful legs in black boots went weak. Unexpectedly, her sister was actually outside. Though her sister had long expressed readiness mentally and wished her well. But after nearly 100 years of being together, she naturally knew her sister didn't let go that easily, would have some little emotions, planned to finish matters and then go find her. But never expected, her sister would come now, and was outside. What is her sister doing outside? Wait. At this point, she also noticed that she had forgotten to reopen her cave mansion's prohibition. "Lu Lang," she hurriedly called out, wanting to signal to stop. "No worries, I don't mind, let's continue." Lu Changxing holding the other's plump waist, empathetic as he strongly thrust forward. Encountering such a situation for the first time, Lu Changxing's heart also surged with a peculiar joy. "Yu Fei? You don't mind, I do." But for some reason, knowing her sister was outside watching her now, her heart inexplicably surged with a unique thrilling emotion, only feeling her silk-soft body trembling uncontrollably. Yanlan? Their dialogue was not transmitted through divine sense, she naturally captured it. Already feeling ashamed and furious, wanting to leave quickly and find a stone to crash into. But upon hearing Lu Changxing's words, a sense of anger surged in her heart. This Lu ancestor was completely shameless, the most shameless of all. Knowing she was outside, he didn't care at all. Even seemed to intensify his actions towards her sister. Search * the Nell Fire. And a website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. What was this, provoking her? Yan Lan, as a foundation establishment cultivator, also had a sense of stubbornness. Usually her sister Yu Fei could persuade her. But at this moment, she wanted to see how long this Lu ancestor could remain shameless and clandestine. No, her sister had already offered tea to that Lu main mother before, so it wasn't counted as clandestine. As she was lost in thought, Lu Changxing was already holding Yu Fei and changing positions. Originally thinking her novice, Lu ancestor chose gentle movements, gradually progressing. But now in this situation, Lu ancestor immediately showcased his skills. Embraced Yu Fei, who had already turned red as a rosy sunset, her eyes blurred, on the verge of tears, unable to speak a word. Even knowing her sister was outside, she had nothing to say, even felt a thrill, wanting to ask her sister. Her look, outside the cave mansion, Yan Lan's breathing had long been rapid, her face burning like fire. Although her heart was sore and unbearable, she was still angry, feeling her sister was being thus defiled. Usually, she and her sister both, at this moment, feeling as though her heart was twisted, aching unbearably. At that moment, Lu Changxing suddenly hugged his sister toward the outside. She saw her usually playful and dignified sister, her elegant sister, with cheeks like peach blossoms in February now, extraordinarily beautiful. Moreover, seemed to exude a beauty never seen before in her brow. Yu Fei, eyes half open and half closed, as if through the cave mansion seeing her sister watching. Suddenly overwhelmed by shyness, a unique thrill surged, exhilarating trembles, her jade feet in black boots tensed, tightly curling up. Outside, Yan Lan hands clenched, emotions complex. Originally belonging to herself sister, now being treated this way by another. Besides shame and anger, bitterness intertwined, there was also a sense of jealousy and inexplicable emotion. Huff huff huff. Her burning hot body limp and powerless, panting heavily for a while, choosing to leave this place. Today's impact was too much for her. Even though she was a foundation establishment cultivator, having traveled this far, with countless trials, she couldn't bear to watch any longer. The symphony of life in the cave mansion continued for an unknown duration. Lu Changxing felt invigorated, holding Yu Fei. The other's white skin flushed, limp as mud lying in his arms. At this moment, Yu Fei still breathing fragrant, it took a while to recover. Her face full of shame and frustration, her voice sultry and soft, like silk, said, "How will I face sister after this?" Although she felt thrilled just now, with intention to stop. But against Lu ancestor's tricks, she had no power to resist. Facing such relentless whipping, she suspected Lu ancestor had besides broken through foundation establishment late stage, also had body refinement strength. Since besides her third level of foundation establishment, she had first grade top level body refinement strength. Yet despite this, she still found it unbearable. Stopping at that moment makes it harder to face others, later acting as if you know nothing is fine. Besides, she was piqued at us. If she's not guilty, why should we be? Lu Changxing put her on the bed, drew her into his arms, said naturally. After deep communication, the two's relationship naturally warmed up quite a bit. Yu Fei's face annoyed, thinking how she couldn't help but feel guilty. I feel Fei really liked it at that time, didn't she? Lu Changxing pinched the sleek and supple skin, whispered. Lu ancestor had long been able to glimpse through the curtain. During the process, naturally detecting her unusual state. Convinced that these two sisters had already crossed paths, blooming lilies. Lu Lang, don't say any more, Yu Fei, face ashamed and furious, said. As Misty Rain Market's second market master, usually responsible for many things, not someone easily embarrassed. Otherwise, she couldn't face Lu Changxing so openly, even volunteering herself. But today really was too thrilling. Lu Changxing chuckled softly, said nothing more. They quietly embraced, resting. After resting for a long time, Yu Fei buried her head in Lu Changxing's strong chest, heart gradually calming, realizing something tantalizingly intriguing. This Lu ancestor, facing such circumstances then, yet did such thing, could it be, thinking of sister? Once this thought emerged, she immediately believed it was true. After all, this Lu ancestor well known. Her and sister famous, how could he possibly give up sister? Besides, their relation might spark many men's hearted desire to conquer, right? Yu Fei, recalling the process, suffuses her heart with thrilling emotions again, her legs gently rubbing. Yet thinking of her sister's situation, her heart turns somber. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know, report, so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1362. After Yan Lan returned to her cave mansion, her cheeks remained blushing like rosy clouds, filled with shame and anger. She picked up the tea on the table and drank it in one gulp, but still felt somewhat dry-mouthed. Huff, huff, huff. She took several deep breaths, trying to calm down and dispel the images lingering in her mind. But the more she tried, the clearer those previous scenes became, making her anxious, her breathing rapid, unable to calm down for a long time. Then, she went to the meditation cushion, sat cross-legged, and closed her eyes to cultivate. Yet now, as soon as she closed her eyes, the image of her sister being toyed with by Lu Changxing in all kinds of ways appeared in her mind, making it impossible for her to calm down. At that moment, she felt that her back had unknowingly become soaked with fine sweat, feeling sticky and uncomfortable all over. She immediately went to the bath pool to bathe. Thinking of the joy lingering between her sister's brows and eyes before, she lightly slid her hands down. But the electrifying sensation suddenly made her entire body shiver violently, a look of disgust appearing on her face. After soaking in the water for a long time, she finally suppressed those images in her mind, draped a simple gauze dress over herself, stepped out of the bath pool with her powerful and voluptuous legs, took a bottle of incense from the cabinet, lit it, and lay down on the bed to sleep. But those previous images surfaced again in her mind, making it difficult for her to sleep. No one knows how long it was until this owner of the smoke market finally fell into a drowsy sleep. Even in her dreams, images still churned endlessly in her mind. One moment she dreamed of Lu Changxing and her sister Yu Fei holding hands, intimately close. Another moment, she dreamed of her sister chatting with her, but all their words and conversations couldn't leave Lu Changxing. The scene spun, and again she dreamed of today's scene. Her own sister's cheeks were blushing, a shy expression on her face, played with repeatedly by Lu Changxing in delight. Just then, she suddenly saw Lu Changxing in the cave mansion actually carrying her sister out of the cave mansion, looking straight at her. Has the owner of the smoke market watched for so long, perhaps wanting to join us? The handsome young man held her sister as if holding a child, then gazed at her greedily, intending to commit something indecent. She instinctively scolded. But she found that she couldn't make any sound. She couldn't even move an inch. Suddenly, there was a rustling sound, her clothes forcibly undone, revealing splendor. With the scene changing, she seemed to take on a god's eye view, seeing herself under Lu Changxing's assault, becoming just like her sister's expression. Ah! Her delicate body trembled fiercely, screamed, and suddenly awoke from the bed. Her body wrapped in the sheer dress was already burning hot like fire, covered in fine sweat beads. Even her smooth and full forehead, the curve of her swan-like neck, her flat and tight abdomen, were all seeping with sweat. Was I dreaming? The owner of the smoke market, originally too rigid and lacking in femininity, now had cheeks flushed like rosy clouds, adding a few more traces of allure. Cultivators rarely dream after reaching the foundation establishment. Unless their state is weak, or they have experienced deviation, or their mind is disturbed, could they possibly dream? She knew that she was severely impacted by previous events, thus having such a nightmare. That Lu Changxing's reputation for lust is well known, yesterday's behavior, perhaps schemes like this. Yan Lan's face burned, biting her lips lightly. Although at first glance yesterday, her first impression of Lu Changxing was fairly good. But after seeing the situation with her sister, her perception dropped sharply. Considering Lu Changxing's reputation for women, she felt Lu Changxing might really be plotting what she saw in the dream. If so, wouldn't Fei Fei be inviting trouble into our home? Yan Lan bit her lip tight, her heart filled with concern. If Lu Ancestor truly intended to harm her, she was certainly not his match. Moreover, her sister was infatuated at first sight, marrying as a concubine. It would be hard for her to confront him openly. Sigh, her voluptuous and powerful legs sat cross-legged on the bed, her hands vigorously grasping her silky black hair, feeling restless. If it were usual times, she would immediately ask her sister Yu Fei how to handle this. Sar the novel _fire. Et website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. But now, moreover, thinking of the dream where she was bullied by Lu Changsheng, her sister Yu Fei remained indifferent, did not intervene, even preparing to help the evildoer. Meanwhile, Lu Changsheng was chatting with his children guarding the Misty Rain market, concerned about the market situation. Unaware of Yan Lan's thoughts. If he knew, he would surely feel speechless, cursing the woman as absurd. Although Lu Ancestor was indeed somewhat interested in these two Lily sisters, it was merely just that. How could he coerce them? Moreover, Lu Ancestor champions respecting women and not acting against their wishes. Father, there were 3 Lu family disciples guarding the Misty Rain market. The leader was named Lu Yunfei. He was the son of Lu Changsheng and by family's daughter by Feifei, born in earlier years, now at the peak of qi cultivation. Once this mission is over, he would return home to attempt foundation establishment. Lu Yunfei respectfully reported the general situation of Misty Rain market and their subsequent arrangements for the market. After all, Misty Rain market is a vassal to Bai Lake Mountain, so it's obviously not simple as earning enough profits annually. They must also allow Bai Lake Mountain to open stores in the marketplace, establish workshops, recruit loose cultivators. This way, Bai Lake Mountain not only gains considerable profit but also enhances its reputation. Just manage things as you see fit. The main focus should be on cultivation, not daily trivial matters. Lu Changxing listened for a while and then spoke up, showing little interest in these matters. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1363. The annual tribute income from Misty Rain Market is at most 10 to 20,000 spirit stones. After opening the shop and establishing workshops, the revenue might increase, but still at most 30 to 40,000 spirit stones. For a foundation establishment family, this is indeed a significant sum. But for Lu Changsheng, it's better than nothing. Moreover, a large number of spirit stones is needed for initial preparation. It might take 3 to 5 years, or even 10 years to see the effects of the investment. Yes, father. The 3 of them, including Lu Yunfei, said respectfully, knowing that their father always has little interest in these matters. However, while the other party can afford not to care, he cannot afford to be careless. Upon hearing the news of his father's return from the Tianyuan secret realm, he had already prepared himself. After discussing the general situation of the Misty Rain market with his son, Lu Changxing pondered for a moment and then returned to the Misty Rain pavilion. His main purpose on this trip was to establish a relationship with Yu Fei. Now that they have a direct relationship, naturally the next step is to have a child. In the elegant cave mansion of Misty Rain Pavilion, filled with the fragrance of sandalwood. Creak. Creak. Creak, the crisp sound and the noise of the bedstead continuously echoed. Suddenly, the bedstead, crafted from second-rank spiritual wood with exquisite workmanship and calming effects, collapsed under the pressure. Yu Fei, who was leaning on the bedstead, let out a long whimper, as if her entire being had melted. This Lu ancestor was incredibly vigorous. If she hadn't had foundation establishment cultivation and first-grade top-level body refinement, she felt entirely incapable of withstanding Lu Changsheng's onslaught. Sir the Novel Fire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. If it were my sister, I think she would be able to. At this moment, she thought of her sister, Yan Lan. The other not only has foundation establishment 6th layer cultivation. She also broke through to second rank in body refinement years ago, her physical strength far surpassing ordinary people. But she wasn't just thinking of dragging her sister down with her. Earlier, when she went to see her sister Yanlan, she noticed something was off in her appearance and demeanor. When the two sisters chatted, there seemed to be an invisible barrier between them. Having depended on each other for many years, she naturally knew what was going on. It must have been her excessive initiative towards Lu ancestor that made her sister a bit uncomfortable at heart. Then, coincidentally, her sister came to her cave mansion and saw her with Lu ancestor, so faced with this situation, an idea arose in her heart to call her sister to marry Lu Changxing together. Not only could it eliminate the rift between the two sisters, but it could also share the pressure for her. Furthermore, after entering by Lake Mountain, they could continue to support each other. Husband, I really can't continue. Seeing Lu Changxing still full of vigor, Yu Fei's delicate body trembled sharply, her cheeks charmingly said. It's always been said that there's only an exhausted ox, and no field that gets spoilt from plowing. But facing this Lu ancestor, she felt she had been completely played out. No worries, Fei, you should rest well. Lu Changxing chuckled softly, knowing pregnancy was something that couldn't be rushed. Having just broken through to the core formation stage and even condensed a yin-yang Great Tao golden core, made it increasingly difficult to conceive. Even with the 5 aggregates proliferation method, it would take at least a month and a half of effort, or even 1 or 2 months, to have a probability of conceiving. After resting for a while, Yu Fei walked towards her sister's residence, her legs still trembling slightly. She touched her slightly bulging belly, wondering if she could conceive. She didn't mind pregnancy in the least. After all, at her age, with her talent, there was no hope of forming a core. Under such circumstances, it's natural to have the idea of giving birth to descendants to continue the bloodline. She even chose to marry Lu Changxing with some thoughts in this regard. Because of Lu Pingan, Lu Wangshu's reputation, and the situation of the Lu family disciples, there were already rumors outside that Lu Changxing might be some kind of reproductive spiritual body. Not only did he have exceptional talent in dual cultivation, but there was also a certain degree of enhancing the spiritual root talent of his children. Were it not so, even if the Lu family ancestor's grave exploded, such luck couldn't have existed, could it? So she also hoped that she could give birth to such a remarkably talented child. Not that it was about some status elevation by child. It's just the traditional concept of the cultivation world, bloodline continuation, passing the flame, and trusting her aspirations for immortality and Tao seeking on her children. Second Manor Lord, greetings. Manor Lord, greetings. Besides Yanlan and Yu Fei, Misty Rain Pavilion still had some orphans and maids they personally nurtured. Seeing her come over, they immediately showed respectful expressions. A moment later, she found her sister in a pavilion building. Today, Yanlan wore a smoke green soft armor, with a cape fastened on her shoulder, making her already tall figure appear even more slender, giving her an imposing and heroic presence. Fei. Yanlan looked at her sister, her clear eyes reflecting a complex expression. Previously, her sister had given her a second-rank high-grade breakthrough elixir. But during these days, she could hardly calm her mind to cultivate. Sister. Seeing her sister in such a state, Yu Fei naturally knew she had something on her mind. She immediately sauntered forward, her delicate body naturally sat in her sister's embrace, her luscious red lips kissing her sister's full, moist lips. Fei, Yanlan's face showed slight surprise, somewhat at a loss. Previously seeing her sister enamored with Lu Changxing, and with the two staying secluded for days, her heart filled with a sense of desolation without compare, even experiencing a feeling of life losing meaning. Now seeing her sister still being the same as before, all the feelings, grievances pent up in her heart over these days surged out, and she tightly held her sister, and they lost themselves in a kiss. A moment later, both of their faces were flushed, exchanging hot breaths. Fei, close the door, Yanlan softly chanted, urgently saying. In earlier years, there would have been no one to disturb them here. But now, Misty Rain Pavilion had an additional Lu ancestor. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1364. If it were me and my sister, and this Lu ancestor suddenly appeared, watching from outside, the scene would be unimaginable. The next moment, the attic door closed, prohibitions activated, and the two were instantly engulfed in fiery passion, skirts and soft armor slipping to the floor. The two jade-like bodies pressed tightly together, fragrant sweat dripping, inseparable, continually rubbing and grinding. A moment later, Yan Lan entered the valley and suddenly smelled an extremely strange scent. This was a scent she had never smelled before. Before she could return to her senses and realize what was happening, a torrent suddenly surged from the depths of the valley. Boom! The next moment, she realized what was happening. Meili's eyes were instantly filled with shame and anger, her face blushing like a red sunset, vibrant and alluring. Yu Fei also felt a bit shy, completely forgetting about it. Seeing her sister's appearance, a sense of unprecedented thrill surged in her heart. She paused, embraced her sister, and whispered softly in her ear, "Sister." On this day, Lu Changsheng and Yu Fei walked into the cave mansion. After these days of interaction, the two were already very familiar with the process. However, at this moment, a strange expression appeared on Lu Changsheng's face. Because his divine sense noticed as soon as he entered the cave mansion that someone was hidden inside the wardrobe. Although the wardrobe had simple prohibitions that isolated aura, and the person inside was concealing their magic aura, he discovered it immediately. What's going on? These two sisters, not only are they deeply connected, is there perhaps some special interest between them? Lu Changsheng felt odd. If Yan Lan appearing outside Yu Fei's cave mansion could have been a coincidence before, there was now no way to explain it, although Lu ancestor didn't mind others watching. But the relationship between the two women made him feel strange. However, after hesitating for a moment, Lu Changsheng no longer thought about it. Since this Misty Rain Pavilion owner needed her sister to help liven things up, and the Misty Rain Market owner in the closet liked this observation, Lu ancestor was willing to make a match of it. Moreover, with this Misty Rain Market owner in the closet, Lu Changsheng was also somewhat interested. Especially seeing Yan Lan with a flushed face, heavy breathing, tightly clenched fists, her heart flooded with waves of emotion, moving between shame and anger, heartache and jealousy, all intertwined. Lu Changsheng found it very intriguing. A moment later, the sound like raindrops on a banana leaf made Yan Lan's heart wrench in the closet. Was it a coincidence or not? This Lu ancestor and her sister were positioned just right towards the wardrobe, allowing her to clearly see the tenderness and passion between the two. Watching her beloved sister in a man's arms, her face shy and delightful, sometimes in pain, sometimes intolerable, sometimes lost and trembling, she felt her throat dry and sweet. After who knows how long, Yu Fei suddenly let out a delicate moan and weakly called for her sister to save her. The wardrobe trembled slightly, and Yan Lan appeared inside. Lu Changsheng saw this scene, slightly stunned, with a peculiar expression. Did the Misty Rain Market owner want to join in too? Although he didn't mind, the look on her face seemed unwilling. Lu Changsheng cast an inquiring glance at Yu Fei. Soon, she explained to him that her sister, in her youth, had witnessed a forced event. Since then, a shadow lodged in her heart, a heart demon, deeply hating men, especially regarding matters between men and women. And as the two sisters had depended on each other for so many years, her sister ultimately couldn't let her go. If it continued like this, it was inevitable a rift would form between the sisters, unable to be as close as before. So they came up with a plan to marry Lu Changsheng together. Just hoping Lu Changsheng would treat her sister more gently. After speaking, Yu Fei's face turned red with embarrassment. I see. Lu Changsheng felt a sudden realization upon hearing this. He said nothing, looking at Yan Lan, waiting for her to make her own choice. After all, he was not too sure about matters like Bai He, only knowing that tea being taken by a man was like a man being taken by a man. So he didn't want to force her, letting her decide. Yan Lan looked at her sister, then at Lu Changsheng, clenching her fists, summoning up some courage, but still looked afraid, then looked at her sister somewhat woodenly. Yu Fei sighed softly, immediately stepping forward to hug her sister. The two were already very familiar with each other on normal days, but with Lu Changxing at the side, Yu Fei felt a bit more awkward. But Yan Lan, in Lu Changxing's presence, didn't have much shyness, treating him as if he were air. "Sister, have you made up your mind?" Yu Fei did not want her sister's first time to be so rushed and then hold it against her. "Fei, I've made up my mind." Yan Lan hesitated for a moment before nodding and saying. But when facing Lu Changxing, she was still somewhat scared. Seeing this, Lu Changxing reluctantly exerted some effects of his impurity-hiding heavenly fragrant body. With this effect, Yan Lan felt slightly better, but still afraid. Yu Fei, seeing this, immediately comforted her sister. A moment later, the normally strong and tough Yan Lan showed a face full of grievance, leaning her delicate head against her sister's embrace, sobbing softly. Lu Changxing was also at a loss, thinking to himself that such a sister was really hard to serve. However, considering that she was at Foundation Establishment middle stage cultivation level, and with the aid of the breakthrough elixir, she would soon make a breakthrough to Foundation Establishment late stage, Lu Ancestor was patient, silently circulating his cultivation technique, displaying his superior skills. Planning to let her get used to it and taste the pleasure, then let her understand the power. How can playing the zither compare to a true dragon? At this moment, Lu Changxing also felt a sense of small achievement in his heart. With the two working together, Yan Lan was no longer as resistant as before, gradually entering the right groove. However, she still couldn't be as natural and carefree as Yu Fei, needing to rest after a session. Lu Changxing didn't mind this. Her situation was completely different from Yu Fei, not only having some resistance to him, but also being slower to warm up. In such circumstances, he needed to use more heat quickly to warm up. And so, a month passed. During these days, Lu Changxing had been cultivating in the Misty Rain Pavilion. Through his relentless efforts, Yu Fei finally conceived offspring. As for Yan Lan, she was not yet pregnant. However, Lu Changxing was not in a hurry for her to conceive. Once a female cultivator becomes pregnant, her cultivation level combat ability will be affected about half a year later. Now that the Misty Rain market owner still had to oversee the marketplace, if both sisters were to become pregnant, it would not be ideal should any trouble arise. And after this month of comings and goings, Yan Lan was not as repulsed by Lu Changxing anymore. CTH Novelfire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. However, when it was the three of them, she still leaned towards enjoying the time with her sister, responding to Lu Ancestor somewhat perfunctorily. Lu Changxing roughly guessed a bit about this mentality and didn't pay much attention to it. As long as there was Yu Fei, this Misty Rain market owner would be a matter of time. This trip had taken quite a while. Now that Yu Fei was pregnant, he didn't continue staying at the Misty Rain market, giving a few simple instructions, and then returned to Bai Lake Mountain. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1365. After Lu Changxing returned to Bai Lake Mountain, he routinely inquired about the family situation. Lu Miaoyan indicated that all the second-rank cave mansions at home had been established, with 5 concubines ready for foundation establishment at any time. However, the Lu family currently does not have enough foundation establishment elixirs, so Lu Changxing must personally refine them. Because Li Xingrua, at present, can only guarantee 1 elixir per batch when refining the foundation establishment elixir, which is far from Lu Changxing's standard of forming 3 pills per batch, each of top-grade quality, even supreme grade. Alright, I'll arrange for that. Lu Changxing nodded and said. The Lu family isn't actually lacking in foundation establishment elixirs, it's just relative. Now, with every child at home preparing for breakthroughs and his wives and concubines also needing breakthroughs, even for Bai Lake Mountain, it's somewhat strenuous. After all, the places needing the celestial spirit saliva are simply too numerous to always use it for cultivating heavenly spirit fruits. They can only rely on refining foundation building elixirs for others in order to keep the surplus ones. After chatting for a while, Lu Changxing inquired if his daughter, Lu Wangshu, had returned. He hadn't seen this precious daughter for so long and missed her a bit. Wang Shu and Ling Xiao took over the Sima family's shops and spirit land, needing to watch over them for a period, so it won't be so soon before they return. Lu Miaoyun gently massaged Lu Changsheng's shoulders and softly said, "The Sima family naturally wouldn't dare tamper with the shops and spirit land. But if the Lu family wanted to get these spirit lands and shops operating, there had to be someone to sit firmly and guard them. It's not that they're afraid the Sima family will cause trouble, but with Bai Lake Mountain's current state, these large family forces are less likely to make casual moves. Most of the time, it's loose cultivators and robber cultivators causing trouble. After all, they have no ties and are like lone wolves, committing a crime and then easily disguising and fleeing to another place, making them hard to track down. Moreover, the shops and spirit land compensated by the Sima family are upper class. Without sufficient intimidation to guard them, once they start operating, they would be prime targets for robber cultivators and heretic cultivators." Lu Changxing nodded, feeling both sentimental and somewhat gratified. Now, the Lu family had truly gotten on the right track, with all the children busy. Apart from the eldest son Lu Pingan, who went out with Qin Yi for a trip recently, everyone else had responsibilities. Lu Qingxian was stationed at Flower Fruit Mountain. Lu Qingsong was stationed at White Tiger Mountain. Lu Rui was in charge of the Lu family's caravan. Lu Xingchen and Lu Caizhen were stationed at Red Leaf Valley Market. The reason two people were stationed at Red Leaf Valley was partly because neither was adept at fighting, and also because Red Leaf Valley Market was becoming more prosperous, with people coming and going every day. They couldn't rely solely on Qingzhou Mountain. Moreover, now that Lu Yuanzhong was old, and one of the family's pillars, Lu Qinghua, had left with some disciples from Qingzhou Mountain 2 years ago to establish a branch in the Imperial Spirit Sex domain. Under such circumstances, Bai Lake Mountain naturally had to take over the responsibility of guarding Red Leaf Valley. After chatting with Lu Miaoyun and Ling Zixiao, Lu Changxing came to check on Bai Ling. She had been pregnant for a year and 4 months already, but there was no sign of labor. It was worth noting that when Ling Zixiao was pregnant with Lu Lingxiao and Lu Lingyi, she gave birth after just over a year. This made Lu Changxing increasingly look forward to the child in Bai Ling's belly. After keeping company with his wives and concubines, Lu Changxing went to visit Nangong Mili in the formless treasure wheel within Mount Sumeru Cave Heaven. Worried that the woman might cause trouble, Lu Changxing had placed the formless treasure wheel in the cave heaven when going to Misty Rain Market, suppressed through Mount Sumeru. "Dog of a man." The first words upon their meeting were a familiar greeting. Lu Changxing paid no heed to such words. In fact, he enjoyed seeing her put up such a stubborn front. Then, using the yin-yang energies, he nurtured her golden core while she maintained her stubborn front but was honest in action. With his breakthrough to core formation, the effect of the yin-yang energies was greatly enhanced. For someone like Nangong Mili with a 4th grade true elixir, it would likely take about 100 sessions to upgrade to a 3rd grade golden core. Although 100 sessions may sound like a lot compared to other heavenly and earthly treasures used to enhance true elixirs, it was extremely miraculous. C.Th. Nelfer. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. It meant that if Lu Changxing focused all his energy on nurturing one person's true elixir, it would take about 3 years to upgrade a 4th grade true elixir to a 3rd grade golden core. If Lu Changxing released this information, countless nascent soul female cultivators would flock to Bai Lake Mountain to offer themselves. Of course, it would also make numerous cultivators and forces want to capture Lu Changxing. In this light, the Tongyu Phoenix marrow body truly is extraordinary. At this moment, Lu Changxing thought of Yun Wanshang's situation. She too was nurturing her golden core with his yin-yang energies, yet her method was entirely different from other women. She drew the yin-yang energies into her body, using her spiritual body to nurture this wisp of yin-yang energies, growing it continuously, and then using it to nurture her golden core. She didn't need to always rely on Lu Changsheng's yin-yang energies to nurture her golden core. Thinking of this, Lu Changxing felt a bit wistful. If this Kaiyun true immortal still needed the yin-yang energies, he might have had a chance to turn the tables. Dog of a man, when are you going to let me out? Nangong Mili's enchanting body was alluring, her entire presence oozing a silky smoothness that stoked desires. Especially now, with her snow-white skin covered in fine beads of sweat, showing a pinkish sheen. When Mili behaves obediently and births 10 or 8, it might just be enough. Lu Chongqing snapped back to reality, looking at her seductive and charming pitiable demeanor. He gave a playful pinch and lightly chuckled. You're delusional. Nangong Mili got flustered hearing these words. She had long suspected Lu Chongqing had such thoughts. Hearing him finally reveal his wolfish ambition made her instantly fearful. After all, in her view, experiencing pregnancy once was more than enough. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1366. Moreover, with a daughter like Yao Yao, she is already quite content. If she were to give birth to 10 or 8 more, what would that be? Just thinking about it makes her shiver. Lu Chongqing initially was just joking around, teasing the other party. Unexpectedly, the usually tough-talking Nangong Mili showed such an expression, which piqued his interest. He embraced her stunning figure and whispered in her ear, "What? You think it's too few? It's okay, as long as Mili likes it, I wouldn't mind even more children." Get lost. You dog, Jinyang Sect Marketplace. In a shop with the signboard Little Bamboo Pavilion. Sister Qingzhu, don't be so unapproachable. There's a banquet next month. If you attend with me, I promise I won't bother you anymore. A handsome young man in a brocade robe, holding a folding fan and putting on a charming demeanor, said to the woman in front of him. The woman's appearance was serene and beautiful, wearing a rainbow feather garment, with an ethereal and transcendent temperament. The man in the brocade robe looked at Lu Qingzhu before him, his eyes filled with a pounding heart. The present Lu Qingzhu not only had outstanding looks and temperament, but her brother Lu Qingshan was also a true disciple of the Jinyang sect and a nascent soul seed. If he could become Tao companions with her, not only could he hope for advancement within the sect, but even the family status would greatly improve. Brother Yi, I have no interest in you. Please respect yourself and don't disturb my shop's business. Lu Qingzhu pursed her lips and said aloud. She had been in the sect for many years and naturally had many people approach and pursue her. Especially since her brother Lu Qingshan frequently went on missions over the years, fearing she would be bored alone. He set up a shop in the Jinyang sect marketplace for her to pass the time, leading to many peers, even clan cultivators, harassing her. Sister Qingzhu, your shop earns at most 1,000 spirit stones per day. If you would just. The novel, F.I.R. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. The man in the brocade robe chuckled and continued to speak. This fairy Qingzhu had a temper completely opposite to her brother Lu Qingshan, known for her well-tempered disposition. So they often resorted to pestering tactics against Lu Qingzhu. Just then, on the street, a handsome youth with a strong build and bright eyes confidently walked into the Little Bamboo Pavilion, calling out loudly, "Little Bamboo." However, when he saw the man in the brocade robe, his eyes narrowed immediately, and a murderous intent flashed. The man in the brocade robe shuddered upon seeing the youth, respectfully saying, "Greetings, Brother Lu." He then cupped his hands toward Lu Qingzhu, saying, "Sister Lu, I have some matters to attend to, so I must take my leave." He knew well that years ago, when an inner sect disciple harassed Lu Qingzhu, he was beaten almost to death by Lu Qingshan within the sect. If it weren't for the arrival of the enforcement hall, the person might even have been killed by Lu Qingshan. But they dared to approach Lu Qingzhu because they knew Lu Qingshan was usually absent. Moreover, this sister Lu was known for her good temper. As long as they didn't go too far, she wouldn't complain to Lu Qingshan. "You dog, I've warned you many times, and yet you still dare to harass my sister?" Lu Qingshan raised his sword-like eyebrows, his expression cold, as he strode forward and grabbed the man's neck, lifting him up. Brother Lu, I didn't, I just came to buy something from Sister Lu. The young man in the brocade robe trembled as he spoke. Although he was a foundation establishment cultivator, facing Lu Qingshan, he didn't even have the courage to fight back. Brother. Lu Qingzhu quickly called out upon witnessing this scene, fearing that her brother would act recklessly. After all, fighting was prohibited both in the sect and in the marketplace. Previously, her brother was confined for half a year by the enforcement hall for severely injuring someone in the sect and had to make amends through tasks. If not for her brother's exceptional talent, such an incident would not have been punished so lightly and easily dismissed. Boom! Lu Qingshan snorted coldly, sword qi swirling in his palm, and then heavily threw him outside onto the street, his face turning pale, and he spat out blood. If I see you again, I'll kill you. Lu Qingshan's eyes were as sharp as two swords, making one dare not meet his gaze. The cultivators on the street were shocked and uncertain upon seeing this scene, wondering who had the audacity to cause trouble in the marketplace. Did they not know this was under the Jinyang sect? Thank you, Brother Lu. The young man in the brocade robe knew that Lu Qingshan was truly capable of doing such things, thinking about how unlucky he was to run into this devil upon his return. He clutched his chest, suppressing the overbearing sword qi within, and thanked him before leaving in embarrassment. Little Bamboo, you really don't need to pay too much mind to people like that. The nicer you are, the more they'll push their limits. Lu Qingshan habitually ruffled his sister's black silky hair and said, Brother, I understand. Lu Qingzhu bowed her head and whispered, Sai, what do you mean you understand? Lu Qingshan smiled wryly at his sister's demeanor. But he also knew his sister's character. As long as things weren't too excessive, she wouldn't bother with others. Additionally, she acted this way to avoid causing trouble for him. Brother, you must be tired from your task this time, right? Lu Qingzhu pouted and gently changed the topic, pouring tea for him. Then, the siblings sat down nearby, and Lu Qingshan recounted his task experience to his sister. Though the task was dangerous, he spoke of it lightly and easily, as if it was a breeze. After which, he took out a pile of heavenly and earthly treasures from his storage bag. Because Lu Qingzhu had a spiritual pet, the earth spirit mouse, she could identify treasures. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know your report so we can fix it as soon as possible. You're tuning in to the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.